This one feels good right here, man. This feels good for the soul. Ilmore. And I hold it. Peace to the people. Yo, I tied a message on the bird's leg. Somebody shot the bird and now my bird is dead. But the message continues just like Jay said. Go ahead, you're only killing a man. From his words I understand his floor plan. Build a foundation, everyone needs healing. Don't let pride overcome your being. You're seeking help, then I'm reaching. Hold my hands, let's break through this ceiling. Whenever, wherever together. Majority rules and that will be forever. I say to the people, not a color. Humanity first and we will learn to respect culture. Through knowledge of our nature and the events which nurtured our behavior. Knowledge of yourself just to help others. Knowledge of yourself just to help others. Knowledge of yourself just to help others. Sing! Homesick, give me your hands and I'll hold it, and I'll hold it. People, feed the hungry, salute. Peace to the people, attracted by the laws of love. Divine force from below and above. We meet on the square and we circle the streets. Majority rules the triangle you will see. Put it upside down to show the powers that be. I mean right side up and that's a bad on me. Man, I pay for the shirt but the message is free. Just lead by example like the youth for example. Inspired by the art, a happy prayers, a happy start. Watch your children patch your bleeding hearts. Too much water, man, we need carts. Haha, but that's an inside joke. But from the inside, man, we share one yoke. One heart, one group, one coat. Students of the class, according to the most high, you all pass. Inspiring spirits, boundless, no limits. Dressed down, trying to speak business. Curtains closed, this is not a circus. This is social purpose with a surface. With a surface. With a surface. It's our duty, and I hold it. My auntie said she has cancer. She said hear my voice, it makes her feel better. So every chance I get, I call her up. If she's feeling low, auntie, this should bring you up. My hands are the symbol of my voice. There are many ways, just make a choice. Maybe write a letter, inspired by 27th letter. Salute to that brother, incarcerated, still writing letters to his daughter. Now that's an effort made by a true father. Under any conditions, about his children. Bridging the gap, building his vision. This is not about a video. You deserve this, you're a child's hero. Hey, Roo.
Five on the left, two on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
By day.
By day.
To his holy prophet.
To his holy prophet.
Noble Jawali.
Noble Jawali.
Islam.
Islam.
So be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical, agitating speeches while at their work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans, it causes confusion. Remember, your cards are for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their carding button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Juali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is therefore sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the Prophet Noble Juali. And this is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Noble Juali. To be proclaimed in every meeting. I am glad to know I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Juali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam. This is the instruction from your Prophet Noble Juali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Juali. And that is why many hearts have turned to stone, many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear, lest they will be confounded of their sins. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah would bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Juali. Islam. So, being that the words getting out more and more, every day something's going on. Somebody's coming out saying that they know something and they found out something, and trying to put our people on to really what it is. Islam to Brother Tez, Brother Miz, and a few other Moors that sent us the separation or death speech. Minister Louis Farrakhan, once again putting it on the record, Noble Juali, connection to the NOI, connection to Garvey, and the honor and respect that he has for, Prophet Noble Juali. We know that it's the end times right now. because everybody's being flooded. Info is just everywhere. Nobody could escape right now.
You say you don't know.
Right? Nobody could say they don't know. If you're saying that you don't know it in these days and times, then you're probably about to go down with the ship. Right? We just wanted to play, for the people who haven't heard it, the separation or death, so the perspective can be put that this is not quote unquote, well, I mean technically it's a more talking, right? But from the public perspective, this is one of these black leader people, right? Giving this type of honors to Noble Drew Ali and connecting Garvey to it and the organization that he's even part of.
Thank you, dear Mayor, and thank you to all of you who chose to come out today to this beautiful symphony hall. It has a very significant history. We understand that this hall was originally built by the Shriners.
That's right. That's right.
In 1925, and it was called Salam Temple.
Go ahead. Come on. Go ahead.
Oh, it's going to be that today.
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
And colloquially, it was known as the Mosque Theater.
Go ahead.
This great city was the headquarters of the great, honorable, noble Drew Ali. This great city, in it in 1913, Brother Noble Drew Ali set up the Canaanite temple in Newark. And it's very, very important because 1914 ended the time of the devil. According to what Allah revealed to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, his time was up to rule us. We are now in our time. And he's in our time.
Go ahead.
It's very important because Noble Drew Ali was the prime predecessor of Master Farrakhan Muhammad bringing Islam to the black man of America.
Yes, sir.
While Mr. Garvey would not teach religion, though a Muslim influenced him, he did not feel it was his place to teach religion. And Mr. Garvey struck more success with the common man by a more nationalistic Pan-African approach, which had something to do with access to land and freedom. But Noble Drew Ali had the same thought, but he came in a religious vein.
Yes, sir.
And even though Noble Drew Ali had passed, and many of the former followers of Noble Drew Ali came to join the nation. We write a letter to get an X, but he never, ever touched the names that Noble Drew Ali gave to his followers. They already had a righteous name. They already were out from under the enemy. One of the first lections that I ever heard after the Savior's Day address that brought me into the nation, Elijah Muhammad gave that address in New York City under Brother Malcolm in the same hall where Marcus Garvey used to hold his meetings. And I had just come in the nation, and I was in New York, and Elijah Muhammad came, and that day he ordered us to always show honor and respect to Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And that stands to this very hour.
Well, we already know that this idea of not mention Noble Drew Ali, not bring Noble Drew Ali up, is part of the ongoing campaign to keep the nationality and birthrights argument out of the people's mind so that it's not in the public, right? Talked about the name of the, because remember, Shriners are, Illuminati and all that stuff, right? So, for them to call their temple Salam, right? For them to be at a place called Mosque Theater. Lets the people who are viewing this know that these so-called people that are in, the secret societies or whatever like that, they're not gravitating in the realm of Christianity or mundane studies. Like, they're going into the realm of esoteric knowledge, Gnostic knowledge, etc. Farrakhan said that 1914, according to Elijah Muhammad's teachings, the devil's time was done in 1914. Noble Drew Ali came in 1913. So, if Drew Ali came in 1913 and the devil's time was done in 1914, it's only right that he made the statement that it's our time now.
It's over.
Like, it's pretty much over. And this was back then, that it was over. Same thing that Moore has been telling people with the bankruptcy crash and all that, Noble Drew Ali going to Havana, Cuba, all the things that Moore's outlined to prove the end of this so-called beast system, right? Farrakhan's back in that position, right? He's making it known that in 1914, the rule of the devil was up. And then when we go to our teachings, we already know that devil, Lucifer, and all that stuff is lower self. Remember, like we said with the Shriners and the Salam Islam people and all that, don't be confused when you hear them talk and say certain things and think that that's just what they know, that's it. If he said the devil's rule, trust that he's not talking about some white man or whatever like that. That's not where he's going, right? When we look at the underlying message that he's relaying to whoever's watching this thing, is that the leaders, Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan Muhammad, Garvey, and Noble Drew Ali are pretty much all cut from the same cloth. Right? All of them are in the same place. Right? Their messages are relative. The time frame that they were doing their work is relative. You know, when he brought up that after Noble Drew Ali died, many of the former followers joined the NOI. Right now, if they were more Science Temple before NOI, right, how could Fard Muhammad be a teacher of Noble Drew Ali if NOI didn't even come around until 1930? Right? How can the former followers that joined the NOI people not touch the names that Drew Ali brought for them?
They don't use them.
Right? The people in the NOI, they have to write a letter to get an X and all that. Right? So they're writing a letter to get an X. But they're writing a letter to get an X. Right? They're writing a letter to get an X. But the people who were former followers of Noble Drew Ali that joined the NOI, they just got to keep their LRB. They didn't have to go deal with getting X's and all that.
Okay.
Peace, bro. Peace. Right? They didn't have to go that route. So if the people that were in Moorish Science Temple left that and joined the NOI and kept LRB, and then people in the Nation of Islam are applying to get an X, and then once they get X, they're good with that. But there's people in the organization that got LRB that had nothing to do with go get an X and all that. Should be something to wake up those people that, you know,
Somebody's in the wrong place.
somebody's playing you guys. There has to be somebody playing these people.
It's like being African American.
Right? Yeah. Right? Everybody else around you is saying Congolese and, you know what I mean, Eritrean, Zimbabwean, whatever. But they don't come over here and say they're African American. But we do. Right? It's just like with Lanre's situation, your situation, put different dates on tickets and all that stuff. Give brother 2, 3 same tickets for one thing. Because it saved face time for these people. All these people who've been neglectful of what Noble Drew Ali brought, all these people that took position of, well, what Noble Drew Ali brought isn't really what it's about and whatever, everything's catching up to them now. And it's either they're coming out and saying what it is, right? B.O.B., Flockavelli, you know what I mean, Morgan Freeman, whoever, all these people coming out telling people that they're not black and all that stuff, right? Either they're going to come out with it or remain mute and take this stuff to the grave. Right? Because you know, it's like Cat Williams said, you know, he had to get slapped by Illuminati a few times to realize, shut my damn mouth with regard to those people. Because they don't play how, you know, we play. Right? They get mean and violent and whatever like that. When you start, you know, talking up about certain things that really is not supposed to be in the public like that. Because these people are running a mass mind control program. They're running a mind control plan across the planet. It's not just something limited to Negro, black, colored people. Right? They want everybody dumbed down.
Yeah, remember the guy said his people too? Yeah,
Right?
man said his people too.
Okay? So when we look at, you know, for example, you know, the first time was that Savior's Day speech when he put up Noble Drew Ali's picture and all that stuff, and everybody's like, oh, he actually said it or whatever. Well, this is maybe like the third, fourth time now that he's come out of his mouth, like saying Noble Drew Ali's name out of his mouth, talking about Moors out of his mouth, talking about connection between Noble Drew Ali and Elijah Muhammad and Marcus Garvey, all these people that people revere or whatever, say that, yeah, we honor them, right? But when you look at the underlying message that they're trying to present, that's covered by the BS that they talk about. Like, Brother Tez and I were watching the Farrakhan thing when we were coming up, right? And he couldn't remember where the spot was for the thing, so we're trying to like search through it or whatever like that to find the part. You know what I mean? And then he remembered that at the part, you know, Elijah Muhammad's picture was on the screen when he was talking about the Noble Drew Ali thing or whatever. That's why we were able to find it, right? Now, in us discussing this, we came to the realization, okay, well, these people obviously know, right? If they're going to be talking like that, they know, right? On another level, if they know that much, he's talking about Old Canaanland Temple, he's talking about Moor Science Temple, he's talking about the names that the Moors had and all that. If they know that much, but they're still taking the position of black people and African people and, you know, going into the fictions, instead of dealing with the reality of what it is, knowing what their position is, right? That's why, you know, we could give honors to so-called blacks that come out and say Moors out their mouth, because they, you know, they haven't been in the public. You know what I mean? B.O.B. and Waka Flocka and them people, they're new people. Farrakhan's been around since 50s or whatever, 60s, 40s. These guys have been around. And now they're coming up talking about Noble Drew Ali, and it's just another part of the speech. It's not looked at as he's telling you where your salvation lies. Remember who it is that we're talking about. We're talking about the charmer. We're talking about Lewis Walcott, the Calypso singer. Calypso singer knows about Noble Drew Ali. Our people don't. They're playing around. Right? Head of the Nation of Islam is going to conference, lecture, whatever, putting this information out to the people, it being online or whatever, having some 40,000 views or whatever like that, and people still black. When he's telling these people that even the people who were Moor Science Temple, when they came to the NOI, they kept their L or Bay. They didn't adopt an X when they joined the NOI. So if they didn't adopt X to join the NOI, what stops all the NOI members from being L's and Bays? If there's L's and Bays already in there that we don't know about, we're just going off what Farrakhan said. That, you know, after Noble Drew Ali died in 1929, people who were part of his stuff joined the NOI. But when they joined, they didn't apply for no X's. They kept their L and Bay.
What they get from Noble Drew Ali.
That they got from Noble Drew Ali. Which would make sense now why when you hear the stories about the early NOI, that they would mention Noble Drew Ali, because they had to cater to the people who were sitting there that came from that. They weren't saying that because they wanted to teach people about Noble Drew Ali. They were saying that because they were obligated to say something, because they were Moorish Science Temple of America members in the Nation of Islam, or at that time Allah's Temple of Islam. Where those people are, I don't know. That's some questions to ask the people, because if they took membership and all that stuff, then that means they got ledger with everybody, and when they joined, when they left, or whatever. Right? What happened to these people? Because we're talking about Noble Drew Ali had millions of people part of his stuff. Same thing, Garvey had millions of people. So you have these millions of people scattered into all these different organizations, right? But they got Elder Bay under them. But they're not dealing with what Noble Drew Ali dealt with. They're saying Farrakhan Muhammad is now our prophet. Yahweh, whoever, is now our prophet. Some other guy over here is now our prophet because, Noble Drew Ali died. And now the in thing is join whoever is the next whatever.
Did Muhammad that the giant, he died before that too?
Who's that? Farrakhan?
No, Muhammad, whoever that is.
Yeah, well, because of the light-skinnedness of Farrakhan Muhammad, white being pure, and that whole science there, they didn't even have him on the floor. They had him as Allah in person. They didn't even equate him to, because they know people wouldn't accept some European come and tell them about their whatever. So this is where Elijah Muhammad comes in now. That he can at least be sort of the individual. Just like when they realized that that they were losing ground, they brought in Muhammad Ali to get people back on it, because they already knew that he was going to be the next heavyweight champ and all that. It wasn't no secret that he was going to be the next champ. But if the champ's a member of our stuff, then what does that mean to everybody who likes the champ? Right? They're going to support it. Some way, shape, or form, they're going to get support. It might be public, it might be private. They're going to get support. Guarantee that they're going to get support. Just because this guy by the name of Muhammad Ali is a member of their stuff. Right? And again, that was all part of the thing with, getting Malcolm out the way. Because, they realized that his influence would have took everybody out the NOI and joined his stuff. Because he might talk about honors to Elijah Muhammad and all that stuff, but everybody know El-Haj was more charismatic than Elijah Muhammad. People would back him before they back some Elijah Muhammad. Right? No different than people are going to back some Khalid Muhammad before Louis Farrakhan. That's how I get him out the way. But then remember, all the people who they said, well, we're going to blackball these guys, get them out the way, because, of their influence or whatever. What is it that happened later on? They ended up saying that they're Moors. They end up talking about Moors. So now, if Farrakhan now is going to be coming up talking about Noble Drew Ali and we're Moors and all that stuff, then why do you even kick Khalid out? Because Khalid's talking that same stuff right now that he's talking right now. Khalid Muhammad saying the exact same thing, we're Moors and all that Farrakhan's saying. But apparently these two guys had issues or whatever. They can't get along, but both of them are saying that they're Moors. Right? Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X, they can't get along. NOI split them up. Right? But Muhammad Ali's funeral, he's getting a Moroccan flag thrown on the funeral car or whatever. Right?
seen that.
And El Haj is coming out talking about, you know, North Africans or Moors taught Europe everything that they know. Negro goes to necro, which means dead and all that. This is more science teachings. So how is it that these people who couldn't get along, in the end, they're talking about the same stuff? Because you can't escape this. You can't pretend like you're going to avoid, you know what I mean, more science.
And they can't twist it. Yeah.
Can't change. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Just like what he's saying, like, well, you know, Marcus Garvey came on a national whatever, and then Noble Drew Ali came on a religious whatever. Because Marcus Garvey didn't want to do the religion, and so he did a national. Well, not really, because Noble Drew Ali stuff is called Moorish, Divine, and National. So it's not just only religious only. Right? But again, you know, when look up just look up placation. Placation. So when you get into these situations where you have people seeming like they're down with you because they're saying something that you might like or something that you're for, but then you realize that really their intentions aren't really about, you know, the lessons that's being presented. They're really about just trying to make it look like they're down with what you're down with, right? It's like people who say, you know, they support the Moors and the Moors are, you know, the greatest, whatever, and all that stuff, but they're not going to proclaim to be Moors. When they look just like the Moors, who they're raving about, that did all these great things, but then they're not going to say that they're those people. They're going to say that they're all these other people, but they're never going to say that they're Moors. They're never going to go to that place of recognizing, again, like what Farrakhan taught them, that what Noble Drew Ali did, that's the final nails in the coffin for the B system. Because he told you that you're not Negro black colored, which is what the B system feeds off of. So by you agreeing that you're not Negro black colored, now you take yourself out of that jurisdiction that uses those labels to do whatever it is that they do to survive. Right? Whatever they do with those tags, those labels, it can't be done to you. Which is why, again, when those people joined the NOI, they didn't tell them you need to apply for an X, because that would be denationalization. And that's international war crime. And they can't be talking about they're denationalizing people while at the same time they want to meet with Gaddafi and stuff like that, who's international. Right? They can't play that game or that role. If they take that position, right? They're by taking the denationalize you position, right? They're giving up.
Placation?
Placation.
P-L-A-Y.
PLA, either PLAY or PLAC. It's either that or it's one of them two.
It's not Y, because I don't see it in the Y.
Alright, yeah, so it's probably PLA then. So once they take the position of we are going to denationalize you, right? Their powers work less because it's against natural law. It's against nature to present something as it's not. It's just like Noir, if you want to talk about the European with the name when you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get kidnapped by the highwaymen, and when they took me in and when they were about to release me and they want me to sign, so I reserved my right to sign, and he said no, I can't sign it like that. I said no, that's you want me to print it, and it didn't say print, it said sign, and that's how I signed my name, or the name you want me to sign, or how I reserve my rights. Then I look with 3 of them, the big chief over the counter and 2 stand beside me. So the taller one, I look up at him, I said to him, you know that Smith name that a lot of our people have, it's a European name? And he said, yes, I know that. I said, look at me, do I look European to you? He said, no. So see, that's the problem we're having here now, because you're trying to put me back into being European when I'm not a European. I know you're telling me that I don't look like them, but you want me to carry the name. It can't happen. So now after that, the one over the counter now, the bigger chief, he goes to me. His parents are from Ireland or somewhere there, and the Britain forced them to take the Britain name. So he also carrying the Britain name that is not his name. So see, you 2 enslaved. He said, yes, I know. I know you trying to drag me back into it. It ain't gonna happen. Right there. I tell them, both of them agree that the slave name not mine. I don't look like them. I do not look like them.
And remember that they always do these things off the record.
Yeah.
The verifying of what we say is legit or whatever, it's never going to happen on the record. This is why we always tell the naysayers that, you know, don't expect Moors to bring you, you know what I mean, some papers or whatever, say, oh yeah, these are all the court cases that got dismissed. Because none of it happens on the record.
No.
You're only going to get transcript for something if it's on the record. If it ain't on the record, there ain't going to be no transcript. This is where it goes into it, you know what I mean, like Moors who are actively exercising their rights, and then stuff goes down, that they get their own camera and they document it and record it and put it out so that people could know how real it is. So they're still under the illusion that it's not real. When, again, we're going to use Brother Lanre again. He's on nationality and birthrights where he's not even sending no papers to them people. He's not even wasting the time. When the day comes, goes in there, and this is what it is. Whatever you guys want to do, then we could do that. You guys want to kidnap? Go ahead, don't worry. I'll do more damage to you guys in there than out here if you want to play kidnap people. You know what I mean? Because after somebody who did 8 years, they're not going to be convincing them about, you know, using that threat, like how they use on people. You know what I mean? The more it's not, well, we're going to arrest you if you don't say that you're the name on the birth certificate and all that. And then people yield because of the pressure. But once you have certain, you know what I mean, Brother Yassoon is another one. Once you have certain people who've been through the system on a certain level, that don't have that fear of, well, maybe they might or whatever like that, whatever it is, they're standing on their right. Then it is going to be whatever it is. And majority of the time, it goes in their favor. And again, we're not talking about, you know, now it went in their favor. Now they have some paper from Ontario court that now that now they recognize Moors and all that stuff. No, they went in there. Judge said for herself, you know what? Because he's bringing up Dred Scott case, this is now a charter issue. Like, I don't even want to hear this. What you guys need to do is you guys need to get some in-chambers hearing, and you guys go talk to the judge in an in-chambers hearing and come back and let me know what happened. Goes to the in-chambers hearing, and they want him to plead to either 18 months probation or a month in jail for some license or whatever. Or you could go to trial and just see where it goes with trial. Right? The judge told him, if you plead, we'll put Moorish American on the thing.
On what?
Like on the record.
Oh.
That sounds stupid.
Because the whole time they're denying it. He's not that, you know, or whatever like that, right? Or we don't recognize that ID, that's not real. But if you plead, we'll put Moorish American on there.
Oh, that's something.
Right? You know? Obviously, you know, red button, no deal, right? Because it's not going down like that.
That's not right.
You're not, that don't even sound right.
Some
What do you mean
oxymoron,
plea and
some
then you're
oxymoron
gonna...
thing.
Yeah, right?
Oxymoron thing. That,
Okay?
yeah.
So they try to do this thing, what we're gonna read, they try to placate, right? And try to you know, stroke your intelligence, make you think that they're down with what's going down. Right? But then railroad you after. Because they got you to put your guard down because they said they're going to recognize Moorish American. I'll plea right now. Like, that's what we want, to be recognized by these people. No, that's not what we want. You don't want to be recognized by them. They're not anybody that qualified in anything about recognizing something. Right? The idea is to be standing on what it is that you know, but at the same time using your intelligence. Because you're dealing with, these people are your criminals out here. These aren't people by the law and they do stuff right and whatever like that. These people are criminals. Like we said, brother got 9 tickets or whatever. Tint, 2 dark. You know what I mean? Registration, insurance. You know what I mean? 3 driving suspension tickets. Like, why do you need 3? Like, what's the purpose of 3 tickets for 1 instrument? Like, it should be 3 instruments, and so then you have a ticket for each instrument, right? Clearly, it's you know, dereliction of duty.
And the dates too.
Dates wrong. You know what I mean? Like, you know, 8 tickets got 1 date. 1 ticket has a different date on it.
For an issue date that didn't even come yet.
Right? For an issue date that's not even here yet.
Not even here yet.
But it's on the ticket.
That they give it that day.
That this was the day that he got it. Right? Now, that, because you said that the one with the date was the one, was the main one that he was arrested for.
Yeah.
And all the others, so you already know that when the date comes, prosecutor's going to say, oh, we're going to throw all these ones out or whatever, right? And try to stick to the one that they think that has the most possibility of getting the guilty. Because all they need is 1. It's the same thing that what they did with me. 8 tickets, but, you know, insurance is the only one that meant something to them in the situation. So they got rid of everything else. Right? Placate.
Placate. To appraise or pacify. To placate and outrage citizenry. Yeah, I think that's it.
Pacify.
So appraise or pacify.
Appease.
Appease, yeah.
Right? Right. Pacify you. Separation or death. We're going to talk all this Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey and and all that stuff, and the Shriners and the Salam, this and that. Everybody, yeah, you mentioned it. Yeah, we got it, whatever. Pacifying people. Because really and truly, you know, the most impactful thing that he said in the whole 3 hours or whatever was the thing about Noble Drew Ali, and when he was talking about flag etiquette, because he was bringing up also Kaepernick kneeling and all that stuff. And he's saying, well, according to flag etiquette, in order for the situation of Kaepernick to be looked at as he's doing something against the flag and against the country and all that stuff. The flag has to be upright. During the Kaepernick, whatever, they had the flag stretched out on the field with people holding it. So he wasn't really protesting the flag, really. This is what he's saying in the lecture. Of course, you know, people who know about flag etiquette, people who have a flag, you know what I mean, know exactly what he's talking about. Makes supreme sense what he's talking about. That they can't even bring no talks to Kaepernick because he didn't protest no flag. They just had some cloth on the wall with the colors and the stars or whatever. Like it looked like a flag. People assume that is a flag, but if it's a flag, it's supposed to be on a pole, upright, not laying down.
That's with the football.
Yeah. Right. So he brought out the flag etiquette. He brought out all the sections of the flag etiquette book or whatever like that, that lets them know what, you know, how this thing's supposed to be looked at. Right? Told them the fullness about the flag etiquette. But again, if he's talking flags, right? But he himself is under a banner. If he's under a banner, but he's talking about flag etiquette, he's pacifying people. He's not really uplifting them because they can't even comprehend where he's going with this. This is just something that sounds good in the lecture. Because of this Kaepernick, whatever. It wasn't about Kaepernick, it was about flag etiquette. But recognizing that if you have a flag, then there's a certain way that flags go. Right? So in the speech, those are the two most important things that stood out. The fact that he talked about Noble Drew Ali, which again we're saying that it's only to appease people who have turbans and fezzes that might be in the crowd, that might be listening. It's only to get them to say, all right, yeah, Farrakhan, he said the whatever. Instead of, you know, telling all these people that they're Moors, and you guys need to proclaim your nationality, and get LB, write a letter for that. Get LB instead of writing a letter to get an X. Write a letter and request, you know, instead of an X, I want to get an LB. And see if they give it to you. Because remember, you know, if we're talking about NOI, we're talking about Morris Science Temple, because, you know, it's the same stuff. Just that one changed the flag. But you got the same religion, Islam, right? Prophet change. Farrakhan Muhammad is their prophet now, when it's supposed to be Noble Drew Ali. And remember that this is something that's supposed to have gone through all organizations. All organizations should have adopted what it was that was going on. Just the same way that when you look at some franchise. If I'm going to say I want to be Burger King, you're not going to see me have a Burger Queen and then big slopper and stuff like that. Because that's against what's originally set up. You're not going to be a franchise and call it your own stuff and do your own thing. It's not going to work like that. But if they take the position of saying that we're going to change things up, we're going to do our own stuff. Right? Once they say we're going to do our own stuff, then it's in the air. Right? Then it's in the air. Because remember that there has to be a acceptance of the facts by the people. It can't just be some you know what I mean, clapping and, you know, like how El Har says, you know, one of his lectures he's talking about, people start clapping, like, what are you guys clapping about? Green says, guys clapping about? You know, clapping time is done. What do you mean like we're up here talking about the enemies violating us and you're talking about you clapping for something? You should be about ready for us to go outside and do something with this newfound information that we got about how these people are violating us. Not clap about it and then leave and nothing happened. Right? Brother Morris, you had a question? And we got another.
Yeah, you were talking about the area where this gentleman was talking about how the fear that is put into us when we're signing the document or we're not standing on a square. And I went through the same thing where you know I was signing the document. They had me in the room and I was signing the document. When I signed it, all rights reserved, right? And this was just at the first of me even knowing about all rights reserved and knowing about the knowledge that exists with the Moors. So as I signed it the first time, and then when they looked at it, it was like, you didn't sign this right, so we have to sign it over. So they tore it up.
Yeah.
So then when they gave it back to me the next time down, I'm signing it, because at the same time as I'm signing it, you know, there's fear inside me.
Right. Yeah.
Because all this information is new to me, so I'm but I kind of know, okay, I should sign it, all rights reserved. And then as I'm about to almost finish my the straw name, and then I'm about to put in the all rights reserved, all of a sudden now she just grabs onto the paper.
Yeah.
and we're struggling. And because of the fear that's in me, I don't know exactly what to do. Yeah. What should I do? Like, this person, I'm trying to sign this, and this person is fighting me.
Right.
So I'm, you know, at that time the knowledge is like, you know, okay, let me just let me not do what I would do now if I'm in that situation. Yeah. So I just barely got a little bit of the all rights reserve in there.
Yeah.
Right, and they got it, and I didn't stand my square to say, wait a minute, no, we have a big problem here. You know, we have a big problem here. Until we settle this my way, we can't move forward. Right. This is the way it's going to be signed. You know, and I can even go further, deep into it, but because I didn't understand, I didn't have the knowledge, I didn't have the fear was in me. It's like I'm just settling. You settling. Right. Right, but then with the knowledge now, you know that you're going to stand strong on it.
Right.
Because they're trying to force you to do something that you don't want to do. They're trying to make you into something that you're not. All sorts of things happening in that very moment. You know.
Yeah.
So we need to increase our knowledge.
Yeah. And that's ultimately how you eliminate the fear.
That's right. Yeah.
To know.
Because it's only because of not having information why you would be scared or fearful. Because you're absent of certain things. It's like we say with Brother Taj made an example of, you get 4 columns of numbers to do some math equation, but 1 column's invisible ink. You're going to be wrong every time. But in your mind, you're thinking you're right. But the people who know that, hey, you didn't add the invisible column or whatever.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that's right, yeah.
They get...
Saturday, I went to pick up a customer car. So I took the bus to go get it. So on my way at Dundas to wait for the other bus to go down Western Dundas, I stand at the bus stop, but that's a bus stop where 2 different buses come there.
Yeah.
So if you don't stand properly, the driver is going to think you don't want this one. You don't want this one. I thought any bus come must stop. It's the bus stop I am at. So I'm standing like away from the, and then when the driver came, he didn't stop. And he slows down, and when I turn around, he passed. And I looked at the bus and I put my hands up, like, what happened? And then he slowed down. Then I started to walk, and he slowly stopped up the way.
Yeah.
I walk up to the bus, and then, sir, what happened? You didn't stop at the bus stop. He said he didn't know if I want the bus because there's 2 buses come there. So I said, oh, I didn't know. First time I taken the bus here. I'm going to pick up a ride, so I didn't know. He said, yeah, but you know what, bro? Start calling me bro. You know what, bro? I couldn't pass you. Because I know you're a Morse. I couldn't pass you. I slowed down, but I want to see you to move like you want to come. I almost want to stop. Come out the bus. Are you going this way or which bus you want? And he's one of his parents is Hindustan. And one is another. I remember that. But he said, our people, and he's happy to see me and know that I'm holding up the thing because our people, they're over here and they are just lost. Your people, they're just lost. And he also said, the food that they're eating, it also dumbing them down from not to want to get knowledge. And without knowledge, they have no power. Me and this man have a conversation going down till even when I'm to get off, he's like, he wish he was further after. And he said, I have some relatives who are Moors, so I know you. And I could not pass you.
I had to check. Just make sure if you're going this way.
I didn't know. I thought the bus, you could anyone will stop. But you know, he explained to me about. But even that, because if he didn't know that I was a Moor, he'd have been gone. Because I turn around means you want the bus too late. I'm with you, and he's gone.
Usually that's how it goes.
Usually that's how it goes. But when he see that it was a Moor,
usually the others will right past.
Gone.
They see you running and come, you're gone.
Running or not, they're gone.
The man said it next to come out. He's almost to stop, come out to ask me, where am I going? If I didn't, you know. Because he recognized me and he know who I am. And, you know,
so that'll be the difference with the placation, what the people are pulling. Trying to make us think that they're down with it. And, you know, they support the Moors and they whatever, but they're going around here, they call people black when Moors aren't around. And when Moors aren't around, people are African. When Moors aren't around, they're not talking about Noble Drew Ali and all that stuff. As soon as Moors are around, oh, now they know Noble Drew Ali, they know the date that the stuff started at, they know how much people were the member of it, they know everything when Moors are around. Right? But the brother said, oh, I recognized that you're a Moor.
And I couldn't pass you. Even if you don't want this bus, I couldn't pass you.
Right? That's not placation.
No.
Right? Any questions or comments?
Yeah, well, I wanted to comment on, I saw some video that, actually I saw it first on YouTube and then you posted. Well, with the Nature Boy. That was did you touch on that already?
No. That was Brother Mario. Brother Mario just uploaded that.
Exactly. So
it's up to Brother Mario. I have to jack that one.
Exactly.
And put that up because that was
Nature Boy. He's like he's in where is he at? In
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. So he's on his nature stuff. You know, with his little tribe stuff, his tribal stuff going on. And he's there bashing the Moors. I don't know why, but he's there bashing the Moors, saying this paperwork bad. Right? You know, revolution is not done by paperwork, whatever, right? So then I guess they get in a situation where the immigration pick up their whole crew and they have them in a van, and all they said to him was, sign this paper and then you guys could go. It's like, oh, we're not into no paperwork, And then the next thing you know, everything went blank. They rushed them all. And all these are, help us! Moors, help me!
Sorry, I never seen that.
He called the there, now he's calling out for help. After he's getting his ass kicked now, then he's calling out, Moors, help me.
Right?
So, the video he made after, he said we are Moors.
Oh, he said that after too?
I didn't know he said that after. I didn't know he said that after.
They're in like some girl's room, whatever, and they're all talking.
Now they're Moors. Now they're Moors. Crazy. So, even with that one, once you start talking Moorish, Aboriginal, Native, or whatever like that, these people automatically know that they don't have jurisdiction. Right? Them claiming any type of jurisdiction is them assuming that they have it. It's not that they really have it, but they're gonna assume that they got it. Just like, you know, they're gonna say, we're not gonna get out this van or whatever like that. You know what I mean? We're standing on our right or whatever. And the guy comes, well, you know, just sign this paper right here. You guys can go home right now. No, we're not signing no papers.
Well, he said that.
Yeah, right? Like he's on this thing about no.
No
We're not signing papers. Now, this is how you know the fanatic, cult, whatever mentality. That not one of the people until after, right? After everything went down or whatever like that, now everybody's complaining and making their little excuses for whatever. When the stuff was going on, not one of the other people stood up and said, hey, send one of those papers, reserve my rights, get the hell out of here.
It's the same thing with my son, see?
Right?
See what they have there? John Doe.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to accept his
Right.
title.
Yeah, well, he says he is.
Who he said he is, they don't want that. And see? That's what they put on there.
Name him as John Doe.
John Doe.
Yeah.
John Doe Jr.
John Doe.
John Doe Jr.
So I'm big John Doe and he's small John Doe. That's what they have. John Doe. Want us to step off our square. No.
Right,
Take
so,
me down as your John Doe, buddy. I'm a Moor.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Wanna turn me now John Doe, I'm a Moor.
So, the corporate policy always has a window. The window's part for them and part for you. So take advantage, but again it comes back to the thing about studying, that if those people weren't some, you know, followers of somebody and they were studying, they would know, right? They would know how to live within contracts. They've been rvbaypublication.com and all that stuff. As soon as these people come with their papers, sign here and go home, they reserve their rights, sign there, they go home. And let that nature boy guy stay there and not filling out no papers. You can stay there and not fill out no papers if you want to. But we're about to get off this bus or whatever. Whatever it was, van or whatever it is that they were.
And that's what I did. I reserve my rights and do what I have to do because I have work to do. And
Can't be sitting around with these people.
No.
Especially when you know that they're taking the position of inconveniencing you on purpose.
Exactly.
It's not like they have to do what it is that they're doing. They're going out of their way to make sure, oh, you're not getting where you're going.
Especially me, like before I got pulled over, like I seen the cruiser, right? It was like passing me. He was indicating to come in front of me. So like I was gonna slow down, try to let him go in front of me, but he just braked up, right? So I kept going. I indicated left because I noticed he came behind me, and I'm like, this guy's probably about to try to pull over. So I wanted to get off the public road first. So I went on private property, and that's when he turned on his emergency lights.
Yeah.
And like tried to pull me for tints.
Yeah.
Out of all things.
Right. Of everything. And then when pulled over for tints, asking for the corporate instruments or whatever, not getting anything. Now, we got the flurry of stuff to deal with. But none of the things are really, the initial reason. You know what I mean? Like if it's tint, then it should be, your tint's still dark, you know what I mean? You need to get those changed or whatever like that. Ticket. Oh, we can't give you a ticket because you never give us a license. Well, you never give us registration for anything, insurance card, nothing like that. Okay, well then we'll give you tickets for all these stuff. But I thought you need a license to do that. And how we're just gonna call you John Doe and give you 8 tickets as John Doe. Clearly fraud's going on. So if they can't identify, and then the individual's right there telling them, well, I am whatever. You know what I mean? If you check the VIN number, you'll see who this stuff belongs to. Call them up, they'll let you know what I mean, that I'm taking it to go do whatever because they gave me the stuff to go do whatever with. But they won't go there because then that takes them out their jurisdiction where they have power. And they have to have power at all times. They have to always be the ones that are giving the orders and making the demands. But this is also with regard to the window, why every time you deal with them, always call supervisor.
I call supervisor before it even went down.
Before it goes down.
I call the sergeant.
Right? Even if it's just to get
Sergeant.
get it on the record that you called them.
Yeah, yeah.
Always call somebody higher than who stopped you.
And then the supervisor came and started talk all kind of Canadian codes.
Yeah.
And I want to tell him, look on my birthright and my rights to travel there, one of my IDs,
Yeah.
right, whatever.
You'll see you.
You will see all the codes
Yeah.
and what the code said.
You see what's real about the codes. Yeah. Right.
But even when I went inside here too, the one inside here that's taking me in, the chief in there, he's saying the ones on the street sometimes. I said, listen, I told him to hold on because I called you. And I'm waiting for you to come on the scene to take care of this thing because they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Now I'm here, he's saying sometimes them out there know more than him. I said, what's this? And at the same time, if he said the ones out there sometimes know more than him, the ones out there giving him ticket, issue date, December was not even here yet. So who is no more than him, which is what?
See, maybe that's the window out right there.
Yeah.
Putting wrong dates.
Wrong dates.
You know, when they put wrong dates, wrong names and stuff, those stuff usually just get thrown out.
Yeah.
Right, so, he said the window right there.
And what was it again? Two days, how much days ago was it?
Friday?
Friday,
Thursday?
yeah. So that's the end of the month. So that's you know,
What
it's
a
ticket
time.
time right
Yeah,
now.
what a time.
You know what I mean?
I don't know how it's
Like it's that time right now. It's quarter time, trust, you're not getting one ticket.
9. 9 for a ticket. 9! What's it about? A bag. Look, a bag of ticket. 9.
10.
9. For all for 10.
They're just joking because they can't do nothing.
Because what are they gonna do?
They're not gonna do
So
nothing.
I was laughing, like when I was in the cell,
It's a joke.
and like 'cause there's cameras in the cell and everything. When he came to the cell door and he was telling me about the promise to appear stuff and got 9 tickets, I started laughing. I'm like, 9 tickets? He even gave me a ticket for saying that I never stopped when he put like 10 on his lights. And I stopped. Like I turned right. I just turned right first to get out of the way, and then I stopped. Then he gave me a ticket for not stopping too.
Yeah, that's like
That
when
was
you
funny
know
too. It's like,
you didn't stop at a
Right away.
at a stop sign. You did a rolling stop.
What kind of rolling stuff?
It's rolling, it's rolling.
That's how we gave you a ticket because you're rolling stop at the stop sign,
Yeah,
right? And that's what the ticket is.
yeah.
9 tickets?
That's what it is,
Wow.
right?
I think about it too. Number 9 is a divine number. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know exactly where they're going. They know exactly what they're up to.
Because
Like they know exactly what they're doing.
they say John Doe, then it's nobody there talking.
Right.
That's what they're telling you. You should
Actually, matter of fact,
automatically know that.
checking that. See if John Doe's in that log
John
dictionary.
Doe, John Doe is nothing. It's synonymous.
this one?
Yeah, in the blacks.
Synonymous.
See if that's in there. So one of the things also was we spoke before about making sure that you go through your little personal library and you extract you know, interesting books from when you were in the black mindset so you can pull out the real information that you missed with the black mindset when you're reading this book that you like so much. So one of the books that I went back to was Brother Kwame Sincere, We Ain't No Niggas. We ain't no niggas. This history education you received in public and private school was and still is unjustifiably skewed. It focused on the negative aspects of African and African American history and positive aspects of European and European American history. This imbalance is a major cause of the social, financial, and political imbalances of society today. We Ain't No Niggas freely guides you through mental exercises and demonstrations to logically prove the imbalance in the published history of white and black people. Then goes on to thoroughly document what you were not taught to bring you the devout gift of true and full history. Ultimately, this book will free your mind from the influence of the intangible force that taught you black is wrong and white is right. We Ain't No Niggas levels the playing field by bringing you the unadulterated truth, the rest of the story, the rest of his story, the negative side of European history, and the positive side of African history to create balance and equality in society. So chapter 3 is about perspective. History as defined by Merriam-Webster is a chronological record of significant events as affecting a nation or institution, often including an explanation of their cause. A branch of knowledge that records and explains past events. Hyper Dictionary defines history as the discipline that records and interprets past events involving human beings. The consistency between both of these definitions is the discipline of history allows for a particular historian's document of past events and, more importantly, their interpretation and explanation of those events. When a person interprets and explains an event, they have the control to stress certain pieces of the event and downplay other pieces of the event. Quite naturally, a person's interpretation or explanation of any event, object, or historical fact will be subject to the uniqueness of their individual perspective. A person's perspective is developed based on their life's experiences, their environment, and their education. The nature of a person's experience, environment, and education will have a direct effect on their perspective, which in turn will directly influence how that person interprets and explains historical facts. The nature of a person's experience, environment, and education will have a direct effect on their perspective, which in turn will directly influence how a person interprets and explains historical facts. So they have so your environment, education, and experience. Environment, education, experience frames your perspective, which will in turn influence how a person interprets historical facts. So, Noble Drew Ali, they gave us the education of the liberal arts. Told the Moors that if you really want to know what's up, study, study, study. And study yourself. Right? Once you have this education, the right education, as we know, all is mental. Being that all is mental, the education is going to shape the environment, and then based on the environmental conditions, you know, your experience will put you in a certain place where you can accept what the facts are or go with the illusion. So we have again this idea of Farrakhan We have the idea of Farrakhan giving people a education on Noble Ali and all that stuff, right? The environment was not conducive to the education. The environment and the education weren't in harmony, so people leave with a messed up perspective. Because the education that he's given them is that there's this individual by the name of Noble Drew Ali. He came, he did certain things, but then not going into where that actually is supposed to lead people. Just puts it out there as a blanket thing to say as part of this lecture, right? Once their environment is warped because of the miseducation, now they're going to have weird experiences, either positive experiences or negative experiences, just because of the education that was presented. We know that when we start talking about we're Moors, Moor science, anything like that, right? Anything like that, you're going to have situations happen that are either positive or negative. This is automatically what it's going to be. Either positive or negative situations. Because of the mystical nature of what it is that we're dealing with as far as the education, dealing with history from the right perspective and law from the right perspective. Once we're dealing with history and law from the right perspective, you're going to have mystical happenings. But if the people aren't caught up to date as to what is really going on with them, when they start, for example, you might be doing some research on the Moors, and then for the next 2-3 weeks you have these repetitive things about Moors coming to you that you never asked for, you never whatever, but this is just happening. Like a door opened and all of a sudden every book you open, Moors in there. You talk to somebody, they're bringing it up. There's these things happening. If the people aren't fully aware of that thing happening, they're going to be receiving messages which is supposed to make their perspective be laser on point, but they miss it. Because when you start bringing up Noble Drew Ali's name and Moors and things like that, you're entering a whole different realm. Like you're entering a whole different world when you start talking about Noble Drew Ali, Moorish history, like specifically. As soon as you start getting into that place, as soon as you start getting into that area, you're not dealing with the regular history anymore. You're going beyond what you supposedly were taught in school or learning or whatever. You're going into a realm where, you know, like we were saying, since the 1900s, early 1900s, this thing was last talked about. Right? When Noble Drew Ali died in 1929, this information pretty much got buried. That this information wasn't to be talked about amongst the so-called, you know, black people. They could talk about anything else. They could talk about whatever else they want. They could talk about stuff going on in the universe and all that stuff. Don't be talking about Moors around here. Don't be waking up these people to the fact of this thing called Moorish history. Now, once you have the right perspective now, which is the whole point, once you have the right perspective, now your explanations and your interpretation of the history is going to be more in harmony with where you are. So you have you have people saying like they come from whatever culture, right? Ancient people, you know, we're the ancient people of whatever culture from back then. That has no relevance to them in this life. It's just something that, you know, because of a wrong perspective, right? If we use Kemetic people, right? It's a fact, it's a documented fact that quote unquote ancient Egypt, whatever like that, Kemet fell. So there shouldn't even be anybody talking from that perspective around today. That's supposed to be only in a reference point perspective that they're bringing those people up. You know, somebody can't say today I'm ancient Egyptian, right? Because your interpretation of what ancient Egyptian is wrong. And when you ask them to explain these people, ancient Egyptians, they're never going to bring up that the ancient Egyptians handed everything to the Moors when Egypt fell. They're going to make it seem like Egypt is someplace in Africa other than North Africa, which is the same place where Moors come from. Yeah, it's on the eastern part, but it's still north. And everybody knows that when you talk about North Africa, you're talking about Moors. That's just how it is in history. Just look up, just do your history on North Africans and see who comes up. They're always going to bring up Moors. And again, once it's brought up in the right perspective, then your interpretation of it and your explanation of it are going to be in harmony. It's not going to be an imbalance or like what we're saying, because of lack of knowledge, people don't know. Once you have the knowledge, then all these things are going to fall into place. And that's really where it starts. This stream right here. This stream being directly relative to the right information so that the environment and the experience is going to create a right perspective. Not a confused perspective, not like when we watch the YouTube, social media, or whatever world, and people are going on that to learn. And then when they go on that to learn, the people who they're learning from, their education's warped. Because half of these people that have YouTube pages or whatever like that, that claim that they know something about their history or whatever, they never give reference points. They never tell you where to go research what they're saying. They're just talking about their opinion. They're just talking about what they think it is, without giving the actual documented facts or proof or whatever, so that somebody can say, okay, well, you know, yeah, you said that. Well, let me take 10 minutes or whatever, go over here, go check and see if this person is right and exact. Most of the time, they get passes because people realize that they're full of BS, but they still stay subscribed to them, watching their stuff. When they know that they're full of BS, because when they went and checked anything that these individuals said, nothing equaled out to what it's supposed to be. Like nothing equaled out. Nothing made sense to the logical mind. Right? The only idea was that, you know, the logic is circular. It's like a hamster on a wheel just running. And it's just all going back to the same place. Nothing is going to a conclusion. Nothing is going to change the individual's mind. It's all going into making them be more on a lower vibration. And then like we're talking about, that the driver said the food that they're eating got them on low vibration. Now they go on YouTube, They got low vibration. Now, you know what I mean? They go to bed at night, and then phones in their hand, and then they're going lower again, right? Thinking that they're getting organic, and not organic, they're lower again. And all of it is based on the lack of having info. This is why they tell you in scriptures, people die for lack of knowledge.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be in your best interest to get as much knowledge as you can if people die for lack of. If people die for lack of knowledge, then everybody should be trying to get as much info as possible. Because that's the only thing that's really going to save the people if people die for lack of knowledge. And again, you know, all these so-called people getting shot by police, they died for lack of knowledge. But if they had the knowledge, they would know that these people don't have no jurisdiction over them. They would know that licenses are a fraudulent instrument. Insurance is fraudulent. Because, you know, if you're a slave, you came from Africa and all that stuff, then clearly you had a religion. And no religion is for gambling.
You know what happened just now? You maybe hear me outside. It has to do with right now what's happening, what we're talking about. I went outside, this one of my friends over 30-something years, I known him, but he's more like still being black. So when I went, it was with the daughter. You see they both came inside. When the daughter see my shirt, I'm not black. She said, "Oh yes, I'm not black either. It's the first time I see somebody with something saying that I'm not black. And I've been telling them I'm not black." And that's why you hear that conversation going out there, because the father says he's black and the daughter said I'm not black. And when she see my shirt just now, she was like, "Oh, it's over now. I find somebody that know that I'm not black."
Yeah.
That's what was taking place outside there just now.
Osiris, you had something?
Yeah, that's why they say that a lot of these people that you're talking about, that just, they actually say when they're doing their YouTube stuff or they're saying their thing, is that my belief, right? Or they say I think. These are their words that's coming out of their mouth all the time. They never say I know, right? And and just listen to that. I guess it's just me, because I guess we overstand stuff. I'm like, other people listen to these fools that say that I believe and I think, right? And a funny thing, somebody online, right, trying to debate me, whatever, and I'm like saying, you know, whatever about the Moors, and he's like, well, when you can come up with anything else, it goes, well, I'm nothing, right? I'm nothing, but I'm all. But I'm saying, you just said you're nothing, so that means that you're just bringing that down on yourself. No wonder why nothing happens for you, because you just said you're nothing.
Right.
Right, but you try to twist it like, oh, I'm nothing, but I'm the all. It's like, either you're the all or you're nothing. You can't be 1 foot over here and 1 foot over there. Right? So it's like, people, they're just warped sense of thinking, right? Whether they don't want to study or whether their ego won't let them rationalize or use their common sense, they rather just stick to some stupidness. Like, how could you say that you're nothing?
Right? It's just like there's a sister that deals with she has this organization through a house called Savannah House, and it's like a retreat spot where you can go do yoga, you can do whatever. So something was going on with brothers and sisters and relationships or whatever, and a brother came out saying, you know, I'm sick and tired of, you know what I mean, the sisters getting down on the brothers or whatever like that, telling the brothers that we ain't ish and all that stuff, they can't be telling us that, rah, rah. And then the sister's like, well, like what's wrong with not being ish? Like, like what's the problem? How is that something wrong that the sister's doing, telling you that you're not S-H-I-T? And then you're mad that she's saying that you're not that. So then you're agreeing that you're that. And if you're agreeing that you're that, then why are you complaining about stuff that's going on in your life and all that? I mean, you know, nobody doesn't like that stuff. Nobody's not keeping that around. Unless the pick up after the people got the bag and stuff like that, they're going to pick up or whatever, hold that for a little bit.
Friday I run into something like that. Friday I run into
that stuff.
You know, on Friday, I see one of my unconscious Moors, whatever, young man,
Yeah.
and I'm teaching a crowd of them, but he's the one, the tough-headed one.
Yeah.
And he was with, looking more like a European girl. And you know, in the end, is the girl, talk to him and let him know what I'm saying is true.
Yeah.
Remember now, he's one of us, he's
Yeah,
got
yeah,
Moors
yeah.
that doesn't know,
Right.
and his European girlfriend has to twist him head and say, listen to what the guy said and understand it.
Yeah.
Get him to see what's happening.
Right. Right.
And he's there like putting it, can't get it, can't get
Don't
it,
want to get it.
can't get it,
Don't want to get it.
don't want to get it. And when she show him something now, you realize that, oh, this is the girl I'm going home with. And she's not telling me when the man is right what he's telling you.
And you know, we seen you know, like we seen more science cause wedge between relationships and stuff like that because of people don't want to accept certain truths.
Exactly.
They want to keep living in the fiction. They want to just they're content in the illusion, but they don't want to or they acknowledge that it's an illusion, but they're content in it. They're cool with the illusion, but they know, well, you know, it's an illusion, it's a matrix or whatever like that. You know, slave master took our and gave us their name and all that stuff. So shouldn't you just change? Like, why not just change that name then? If you know slave master gave you that name, just like you said, you know, if you know, hey, Smith's a European name.
Yeah,
I don't look
him.
European,
And he said, no, you don't look European.
right? And that's highwayman.
Highwayman.
Telling
me.
Nah, you don't look European.
The name you are calling me here, that's not mine, sir. It's not mine.
Like, what more you want?
You know?
What more you want?
Yeah, because they said that we're allowed to get the tape that's in the cell, so that's the best evidence right there.
Right?
In itself said it.
I also want to add too, just before I came here, that I went to return something at Winners that I had bought at another Winners. For the other Winners, I got no tax. They kind of gave me a little problem, but then whatever, the knowledge, they figured out how to get no tax because they say Indians only get one tax off, whatever. But you know, so whatever that. So I go back to this other Winners, and this so-called black manager, she always gives me the problem. She's the only person that gives me problems. Right?
Always
So I'm glad she was there this time because I have the receipt now that the other store did it with no tax. But she's like, oh, we have all come to not one tax. So I go now, she's still on her ego trip. Oh well, they did something wrong. Oh, this, that. I have to call head office. I'm like, lady, the receipt says that you guys could do it, so I don't know why you're saying it. Like, you know?
And they get mad at that one, huh? When you have the proof on them,
So she's like, so I took out my camera. I wasn't really taping her, but I took out my camera to like, I say, are you violating my rights? I wasn't really videotaping her. That's her reaction.
Yeah.
She puts up the jacket in her face, and walks away, and then after when she comes back, because she told to go to the next, let the next person go. I said, no, I'm not letting the next person come because you're violating my rights. So she's like, well, I'm just gonna call and see. I'm not violating your rights. I said, no, you are violating my rights. But at the end of the day, I just, whatever, and I left, right? But just to show, so I was even saying to her, like, it's always so-called black people that does this, like self-hate. It's like, if you hate on me, you hate on yourself because you're more. Whether you want to believe it or whether you want to understand it or not, right? This is your stuff, right? And then she's just like, whatever, I'm like, whatever. But it's just funny though. But every time that happens, I just go back the next day and I deal with the European managers, and they do it, no problem.
no issue.
No issues.
It's always your own.
Always our own people.
That's gonna be fighting.
Self-hate. I'm trying to tell her this is your stuff.
Yeah.
She's like telling me, oh, you're not Indian. I'm like, I know I'm not Indian. Right? And Indians, they get one tax off. So obviously I'm not Indian because I get both tax off. But, well, they want to be from Africa.
Well, you gotta remember something, brother. Not all skin folk are kinfolk.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah.
Straight.
What's that?
Not all skin folk are kinfolk.
Kinfolk.
I mean, not everybody looks like you is your family.
Yeah. Every brother, every Moor is not your brother.
That's right. That's how we get caught up.
Yep. Couple questions. If you got questions, you could shoot those up as we go. Brother Omari, or Brother Omari, apologies, Brother Bay, said to check out this elder's appellation of the Dragon Clan. Right? So this is Piccolo's people. Elder Mori.
Dragon Ball?
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z. Right? Official name, remember this is not English. Right? So the official name in the language or whatever is that. It breaks down to this. That's the anime name. Alternate name, Grand Elder Mori. Right? Now how many people, supposedly Moors, have you heard say that this and this are two different kind of Moors? So if these are two different kind of Moors, how come this one Moor has these two, the same name that so-called Moors say that these are different, this one means some other Moors and this means some different Moors. They got one individual that goes by both these. And remember, this is anime. So it's not going to be given the credibility of reality because it's a cartoon and stuff like that. So no, we're not going to go with that because it's a cartoon. Right? They're not going to give it the power. But they know that, like, it's anime, but they know that this is real. Like, this is a real thing, but this is an anime though. Right? This is a real thing, but it's an anime. So don't think that because it's in a movie or whatever like that, when they start presenting things in the movie, that you think everything's out the window because it's a movie. Like there's a reality here. And the more that, you know, it's just like we've done the, we did the anime lecture where we broke down Moorish connection to anime. It's on YouTube, right? We were up there for 2 hours, 3 hours or something like that. We didn't get to this. Just talk about anime alone, but we didn't even get to this. Who knows what else is there in that world relative to this connection? And then keep in mind that, you know, they got their vests on and stuff like that. You know, they got their turbans on, right? It's not. It's leading along the lines of who these people might actually be, right? By the imagery that they're showing. Green-skinned people. You know, you're talking about Asiatics. You're not talking about some Europeans or reptilian people or whatever like that. The cartoon has green skin guys. You're actually talking about Asiatics.
Is that the picture?
You're talking about dark skinned people, yeah. He's green though. It might be just because of the screen. Right?
Because even on ancient Kemet, one of the deities is green. I'm not sure which one it is. One of the, I don't know if it's Aru or one of them is green.
Well, I think it's Osiris. I think it's Osiris. Yeah.
Right. And then you have green olives, which the prophet said that were olive tone, and olive comes in different colors. You have black, green, I know that for sure. I don't know if there's any more. I
It's
think there's
brown.
brown olives. So
Red, I think. Red.
I don't think there's no red olives. But yeah, so just like our people, we are a different array of shades. So it just makes, so it's, the prophet was right and correct when he said that we're olive tone. Right? So, I also want to add too that people are always trying to say that M-U-U-R, M-O-O-R is some big difference when in ancient times vowels were interchangeable.
Yep.
Right? Moors could be spelled L-E-R or M-A-R because the vowel doesn't make a difference. It's the consonant. The M and the R, that's really Moors right there. Anything else in the middle is just different cultures with different use of language or how it's interpreted, basically.
Right now, this next one, there's the Soviets, October 2007, Saudi Arabia bestows citizenship on a robot named Sophia.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Robot got citizenship.
Oh yeah, I seen that. Or and the
Well,
seen that.
the funny part is her name, Sophia.
Yeah. There's a robot cyborg lady by the name of Sophia. And this is just, one of the Moors seen it and sent it because they spoke about some interesting stuff. This is just their little breakdown. The corporate logo on when they were introducing this Sophia robot or whatever, they had like a green 7 on the podium. Right? The name of the cyborg is Sophia, and the theme that they're running with is something called Rise of the Owl. And we know that, Day, Ali, El, Bebe, Ali, El, and Al are, the Moorish titles of nobility. Okay? They went all their way to do this robot, whatever like that, and they didn't give them some Saudi Arabian name or whatever. They didn't give robot Moorish, tie the idea of them creating all these robots or whatever, Rise of the Owl. Now, just like Brother Mario was breaking down with Wendy Williams passing out or whatever, right? Showing that these people are showing that the Asiatic woman is asleep. She just fainted on her show or whatever. Yeah. She was wearing
Wendy with the Statue of Liberty.
yeah, she was wearing the Statue of Liberty as Halloween or whatever. Yeah. Right? So, that perspective that, she actually is a representation of all the Asiatic women out there. Doesn't matter how you look or whatever like that, if your phenotype's like her or not or whatever. If you're Asiatic, you're asleep. World knows now, right? They already know Statue of Liberty is a sister, right? They already know that at one time she had to be copper if she's green now. They already know all these so-called black women or whatever watch this lady, right? This mutant called Wendy Williams or whatever, right? So are they saying that the rise of the owls is based in them being robots? when you look at the conditions of so-called unconscious Al's, Bays, Days, Ali, and L's, that the rise of them, they're going to rise, but they're probably going to be robots when they rise. Or they're in that stage right now. Because remember, if they called her Sophia, that's not a European. It's not Saudi Arabian either. When they call her Sophia, they're relating that to Sophia Charlotte. You know, and then, you know, the robot Sophia, that'll be the queen of all the robots that they're going to be bringing. So everybody's using the Moorish theme to do whatever it is that they got to do. Why? Because the Moors are not using their own stuff. They want to be Negro black colored. They want to be nigger on the block or whatever, instead of being who it is that they are. Right? In this day and time. Because we already know that the idea of us being from somewhere else and all that is illusion. So that can't be who we are. Then when we go the other way, there's 800 years of Moorish history before you get to ancient Sumerian, Egyptian, Phoenician, whatever like that going down the line. You can't jump over that and then say that we're those people way back there and skip over 800 years. As soon as you avoid 800 years, you warp yourself. Because everything that our ancestors had in ancient times, the Moors had custodial power over these things, especially the information. Because again, knowledge is what our people die for a lack of. So it was only right that during the death ages, where all these dead people around here don't shower, don't do all this stuff, that the ones with the light or the knowledge came to them and gave them a little something for, you know, them to feel like they're somebody.
It's like how they said the slavery is 400 years.
Right.
But the United States is only 250 years.
Right.
And Canada is only 150 years.
Right.
So something's not right.
Something's not. 1 and 1 equals 7.
Something's not right.
Right.
Something
Definitely not right.
Something not right.
But again, it's you know, it's only going to be not right to people who have a brain in their head.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have doodoo for brains,
You ain't gonna see it.
you're not, like, none of this stuff is, it's not going to register. It should be registering because it's really based in common sense. It's not high science. It's not, you know what I mean, we need all these different books or whatever like that. Just go look in the mirror. Tell me you're black. If you tell me that you're black after you look in the mirror, then it is what it is. Like, there ain't nothing, there's nothing to discuss or whatever like that. You know what I mean? How many, you know, quote unquote, Asiatics, right, that are unconscious of what we're teaching, right, would recognize, just based on what they see, that, hey, how come somebody who looks like an Asian is here learning this stuff or whatever? Like, what ties them to this? Like, how come he's comfortable being here? Oh, because he's Asiatic. Like, if you're Asiatic, then this applies to you. Because this is the uniting of Asia. And everybody knows that they've been put under slavery by somebody. Everybody knows it's that time to get out. Because, you know, everybody, they might talk BS about the black Muslims and stuff like that, but they also know that the devil's time was up in 1914. Like, it's over right now. Been over.
It's not around the time when Marcus Garvey.
Same time.
Same time Marcus Garvey in Jamaica. Yeah.
Exact same time.
Yeah. All happened.
Exact same time.
Yes, for that's. I was reading something today talking about daylight saving.
Yeah.
How they're saying in 1918 or whatever or something. Something about Benjamin Franklin. Something about it. I don't know what it was saying. But where did daylight saving come from?
Why is European?
Well, they said that
illusion.
They said that their intentions was to save energy, I guess. But I know that doesn't do nothing now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you know, time's an illusion, so it can be manipulated or used to manipulate, right? Like, look how much people are messed up today because they think right now it's going on to 4. You know what I mean? Or how many people are ahead of the game because, you know, last night they put their clock back, like, I got an extra hour tonight. We got an extra hour. And they're not even worried about, you know what I mean? When it's time to go ahead, then, you know, oh, we're going to lose an hour, so let me make sure I get all my stuff done so that when the hour goes ahead, we're on top of the game still, right? But, you know, again, it's all part of, you know, get people off of the frequency, right? Because people are basing life on time, right? So if they're basing life on time, not on, you know, like the now. If it has to be, okay, well, I gotta, this is time, then they got the calendar, they got the dates that they gotta do stuff and all that, then these people could change stuff tomorrow. Tomorrow they can say 2019 and people are not even gonna care. They just go with it. Oh, so, how come they did that? Oh, well, you know, they said that, you know, the planetary something. Yeah. It's really 2019 right now. Yeah. And people just go with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but one thing that never changes, like just what I realized and just in my knowledge is that you want to know when it's 12 o'clock? Look straight up in the sky and the sun is right above you.
Forever.
Stand on your shadow. That time you stand on your shadow.
Ever.
Yeah, that's when you stand on your shadow.
Doesn't matter what anybody, no, I don't care what anybody says.
Where you are in the world,
doesn't matter. 12 o'clock, I know the sun is right
They
above.
didn't know that time.
Yep.
And I always realize that, oh, I go for lunch, I'm like, oh, Lee.
Oh, it's, yeah,
Yeah.
it's that time.
It's that time because the sun's right
Sun's
there.
up, sun's
And like
up.
the sister was just saying too, she could say it for herself.
Oh yeah, the fowl will crow every hour.
Right.
So this crow throughout the night.
Mm-hmm.
That is your natural clock.
Yep.
The fowl clock.
Yeah.
Yep.
Natural clock.
Yep. And again, it comes back again to that thing of, you know, when you see the people starting to gravitate to this information, right? It's gonna be the people with an island connection that embrace this
Yes.
a little easier.
Yeah.
Because of things like that, tied to nature.
Right.
Being able to go outside, pick something. You don't go to the store to get food and stuff like that. Who goes to the store? You just go and pick stuff. You get your basket, you go to everybody's tree. Pick 5 things off everybody's tree, you're good for the week.
Okay. One of the same thing when I was trying to break down things with the guy on Friday, and then when he come around now, he said, you know what? When I come here first, and I see apple in the store, I'm looking on the street and in the bushes to see if I can find apple tree like how I used to find mango tree. And he said he can't find none of these trees, you only see them in the store.
Good luck.
When back home we used to the neighbor have mango, the neighbor have apple. So you know
Straight.
I want to say another thing about time. With even with certain churches like indoctrination, they say the seventh. This is the Sabbath, right? And both of them they celebrate the Sabbath as sundown. So sundown is another indicator of when the sun goes down. Then that's the start of a new day. But a lot of people they go by 12 o'clock, 12 a.m. is the new day.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Or 24 hours is like whatever. It's like those are illusions. Nature tells you what time it is. Like now, in the fall time, when the fruits are ripe, people know, okay, it's November time, you know? Because all the crops are ready to go. When the season changed, people didn't go by, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It's like, that's just a fiction. That's just a way to program people to be like, rush here, you know what I mean, and get all thrown off like Cujo said, lower your vibration.
For those that seek employment under the free national appellation, what documents would you recommend bringing besides national ID? Shanika L. Well, it depends on how bad you need that quote-unquote employment. So it's supposed to be like anything else. If people want ID, you got ID to show. It's not supposed to be this hard-headed thing where people don't want to accept ours and I've never seen that before, how do you, whatever like that. It's just supposed to be accepted. But because of us being in this position for so long of not having these things and presenting fraudulent things as who we are, the powers that be got comfortable in us just being fraudulent people. So yeah, you're going to throw them off. You start talking about you're a Moor, here's a nationality card, you don't want to give a license. Right? If you do that with quote-unquote employment, know that as Aboriginal and Indigenous people, you can't be taxed. So they're going to have to make the decision on whether they want to hire you or not. Because they can easily just hire a nigger and just tax him. Why even bother with you? Because you got some stuff, you got some card or whatever like that. They don't care. They're not interested in us being liberated. They have a program that they're running. If you want to have a bank account, you need to see particular identification that's approved by the government. You want to get a whatever, you need to see that's approved by the government. That's what they're going with, which is where Noble Drew Ali was leading Moors to us being self-sufficient. So if you're going to another Moor to get a job, trust me, you're not going to have to worry about licenses and passports or whatever like that. You show your nationality card, that's what it would have been. Right? There are Moors who have gone through the process of saying, forget that, I'm going to go work in Free National. Some stuff went through, some stuff didn't, because there's not a clean slate of how this thing's supposed to go. It's going to be based on who you are, how much you trust what you got, and these people that you're engaging. There's Moors who have, put their status on record at a job and stop getting taxed immediately. They're just because of the tax alone, they're making more money than their manager. Just because of the tax not getting taken off. Right? Their take home is more than what the managers gets. But then that also means that, somebody's going to have to pay that tax if it's not you. And trust that they're not going to pay your tax for you. They'll easier let you go. So that way they don't have to deal with it. Because it's a headache for them to have to deal with quote-unquote CRA or IRS or whatever about how come you got an employee or whatever like that, they didn't pay taxes and now you're saying you don't want to pay it? They're going to go at those companies for that. And if you're looking at something where this is livelihood, you got to feed your family and stuff like that, don't be going and getting no, wife or husband or whatever leaving you because you want to be a Moor and then you went and lost the job or lost the car or lost the whatever. That's going to have them mad at you for the rest of your life just because they don't get what this is about. Right? It has to be that before you try, present, or whatever, like we tell people, learn how to live within contracts. Before anything, use the fact that you have license, passport, health card, taxes, whatever, to learn how to deal with contracts. Right? It's like what Brother Amari says with the application form. That, don't think that you're going to send in a membership form and then it's going to be wrong and we're just going to, we'll just correct that for you or whatever. No, you're getting your stuff sent back and you're going to do it right. And then it's wrong again and we send it back again. Because it's all part of the training of how to live within knowing how to contract with these foreigners in your own land. knowing that they're foreigners in your own land, and that most of their contracts are trying to hold you to some obligations that you shouldn't be held to. Whether you say you're a Moor or whatever like that, you shouldn't be held to licenses, passports, and all that stuff. Because the people who are issuing those are foreigners, and they're not in the land of their own. So the fact that they take the position of issuing things to people, and people get them without even learning how to live within contracts, reserving their rights or whatever, is giving these individuals the power it is that they have to enforce the codes, statutes, acts. Go check all the tickets. They're telling you some act or whatever.
All of them.
So how is it? How are you trying to hold me to an act when I'm a national? And Constitution is supposed to apply.
And they got all. They take oath to uphold the Constitution.
Right. Right.
They take oath to that.
Not the code.
No.
They didn't take oath to uphold the code.
No.
Or the ordinance,
no.
or the act, or whatever.
No.
The Constitution. Right.
I want to add to that because I have employment where I've got no tax off, right? But I use a straw man, right? I reserve my rights, but I show them my nationality card, right? So you got to realize that even though if your application is different than your name, your picture is the same, right? So you can. My advice is, like Cujo said, that they're trying to cover their own self too. So basically, right, use a straw and just show your nationality card, right? Because you can't say it's you. Your picture is right there. Like that is you, regardless what the name says. That's you, and your fingerprints on it too. So if you want to even go the extra mile, whatever. You know what I mean? Scan it. If you think it's some kind of fraud stuff or whatever. But like I said, I've gotten tax off where, I use a straw, reserve my rights, but I show them my application. And it's good. There's times they rejected it, but there's times they did. It just depends on, I guess, whoever you're dealing with. Right? So that's what I would say. Stick with the straw. If you have an issue, reserve your rights, and you could still try with show them your nationality card. Say that you don't. No, this is your land. This is law. Your birthright. And you know what I mean.
And again too, like look at it like, you know, if you're on your own, it's easier because you don't have to deal with anybody's ignorance or whatever. You're going based on what you know, what you say, whatever. Well, as soon as you got somebody else that's tied to you in some type of way, mate, consort, wife, or whatever, husband, or whatever like that, you know, don't tread so that you have issues in the house because of this stuff. Right? Don't make more science be why there's issues. Right? Because you heard some stuff and you want to try and see if it works and all that stuff. Well, no, you can't do that because, you know, whatever. You're going to get that. But this is where it comes in again to learning how to live within contracts. Recognizing that how you sign documents can save you. You don't have to say, I'm a Moor to be saved. You have to have knowledge. Like what does it mean to be Moor? Not that I'm one. Like, yeah, we could be one, but what does it mean to be this? How are we supposed to maneuver with this? You're only going to do that by dealing with Moors, connecting with different Moors, exchanging info, exchanging ideas. Moor might have had some situation that, you know, he went through it smooth sailing. And just because
you build with him, you get the heads up.
You build with him, now you get the heads up of what it is that individual did. You know, you might have did something, and both of y'all did something that, you know, broke the camel's back. Well, you put these two things together now, and you can get some stuff done, right? But don't get into this thing of, you know, to be a Moor, you gotta prove this and you gotta whatever. one of the Moors in Massachusetts. You know, they were, you know, on this thing of exercise their rights or whatever like that. So hold on a second, like, let's slow down and really, you know, exercise this a different way. So they started going to do volunteer work, right? Just working with some people. They just go there, do their volunteer work, fezzes up and all that stuff. You know, meet people, talk to people, blah, blah. Somebody comes up to the Moor. Your name came up. For what? Well, we're starting this new whatever, and we want you to be the guy. This is from doing volunteer. You know, we got grant money and all that stuff. We're going to pay you and all that stuff for you to run the stuff. Just on the strength of him going there to do some volunteer work. And then going there to do his volunteer work as a Moor. You know what I mean? Exercising his culture, and the people who run the place recognizing that, hey, he's different than the other people. Of all these people that came here to volunteer, this guy, we're going to use that guy. Right? So it's something that the idea of exercising our rights and all that does not have to be, you know, against some highwayman or some court or whatever like that out here. Does not have to be like that. There's many ways of exercising your rights that have nothing to do with highwaymen or nothing.
And
nothing to do with licenses,
and
nothing to do with nothing like that.
And those ways you will shine your light.
Exactly. Your light would shine more even.
Of course, because you know what, I'm hoping for something to come out of what happened on Friday with me. I have a ex-neighbor that used to be over my ends there, and he's from Jamaica too, and he said he's tar baby, and I cannot tell him anything. Yeah. Let's just agree to disagree, because I'm tar baby. You know what happened now? Tar baby moved from there and go rent a place from a Hindustan. I haven't seen him for 4 months. I was going to the store to grab some stuff, and he was passing with his landlord, and he saw me. He said, hold on, I gotta see that man because I haven't seen him in a while. He said, you know that man? He said, yeah, he's my friend when I used to live over there. I want to meet him. Because he see me in my fez. The Hindustani see me in my fez. I want to meet him. And he came over there in the store. He took my number. He wants to come to the temple. Yeah. He knows what's going on with my tar baby friend. So now I think something gonna rub off on that tar baby guy.
Tar baby's gonna realize he's
yes, you know, yeah.
We just want to open up. If anybody has any questions, we could deal with those right now, or any comments, testimonials, or whatever. Something happened in the week we want to talk about.
It's not really a question, but
yeah, well,
just basically what you're talking about. I was checking a couple of my brethren from back in the day, just trying to explain the situation to them, and it basically got to almost blows. Yeah. Not on my part. Yeah. On theirs. Yeah. Right? So he said to me, one of them was saying, basically, there's two things in life: death and taxes. Yeah. And I was trying to explain to him, well,
taxes don't apply.
There's one thing in life, that's death, right? And these people overcome that. But we're not even going to go that far.
Yeah, that's too much.
Too much. And I'm trying to show him about the taxes. He's like, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, all right, you know, we went on for like 4 hours. I'm like, all right, you guys do what you do. I present you, I drop the seed for you, because I love you guys, and that's it. Talked to the brother yesterday, and he's like, oh, Raph, we got to hook up because I saw this, I saw this, I saw that. Just love what you were talking about.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But I have to leave him alone because, you know, drop the seed. If it plants, if it catches root, it catches root.
It's exactly the same thing.
Right?
Like my tar baby.
Yeah, now he wants to hook up now.
Yeah.
Like, well, when you're ready, you know? I got to do my thing, so when my schedule can get around, then I can get to you. And I tried to talk to you, you didn't want to listen. Right? So he must have, something must have went through.
Yeah, whatever, research, whatever it is, somebody, European put him on or something like that.
He's not doing the research, like you say, European probably put him on.
Someone put him on or whatever.
Exactly. Because I told him he didn't want to hear.
Yeah.
And now he wants to get into contact with
just like Yahshua, Muhammad, Buddha, Drew Ali, they never listened to their own.
No.
Always some outsider has to come convince them. They you know what he's saying. You guys should probably listen to what these guys saying or whatever, you know. Or when we engage other nationals and they're asking us what's wrong with our people.
Yeah. The same
What's wrong
thing
with your people? How come you know and your people don't know?
Yeah.
I study. My people don't. I mean, that's
The bus driver was the sweetest one. When the bus driver said I couldn't pass you. Couldn't pass you. And then it's the same thing. Then how come they don't know? I said, man, I tried. I tried. And I now start trying.
Like Brother Raf saying, you know, our trying is we drop the seed.
Yeah, simple. Yeah.
And we don't gotta beat them in the head and all that stuff. Those days are over. Maybe, 10 years old, we might stay in a little while, beat them in the head, try to make them get it.
It's like
but now,
it's like the other
drop the
part
seed
that
and
said
go about
about,
your business.
it's like the part that said about always been hidden from the wise. You remember that story there about the wise and revealed to the baby?
Right, yeah.
So my brother come here today now.
Yeah.
He's the wise because me and him go to school. But now his daughter's
on it. Yeah.
Telling him, no.
Yeah.
I see a man with a shirt say, I'm not black. I want one of that shirt. It's like I want one of that shirt. And she's the daughter of the man who is my friend who claimed to be black.
Even that too, I want
They say that generation.
Right here, it's up to right here. You remember she was right here.
Well, who'd you?
Right here.
Can you speak up, little brother? Can't hear you.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, so I was reading this Bible at school, and I saw the fez, and I said to my, I'm feeling dumb, so I'm like, look, what is this? She's like, we'll talk about it later.
Did later ever happen?
No.
Should
So
go remind her.
I'm standing here waiting for her. No answer.
Nothing.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, she's a teacher, right?
Yeah.
Should be willing to tell you about what that is, right?
She should.
Don't worry, just go remind her. Hey, remember you're supposed to tell me about
This hat.
What was it they said they asked? I didn't hear you. Eh?
Yeah, there was a fez in the Bible.
Oh, a phrase in the Bible. Yeah, same
I
as.
his teacher to explain it.
What is it? Oh, okay.
Come back later. Not right now. Any new folks got questions? You can throw them up. If you got any questions, just throw them up and we'll try to address them right now. Any other weekly testimonials? You got anything going on this week?
Well, this week, tomorrow, I have a court date tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
For
Laundry is tomorrow too. Where's yours at?
Mine's at Shepherd.
Oh, you're right? Okay.
But I'm not going. I'm going to laundry.
Yeah.
Because with mine, because I don't remember. They gave me a letter. Like, to go back a bit, the last time I went to court, I walked to the courtroom and I dismissed. I had the record. I said the charge dismissed because I had given them a default notice before everything. Not a default, a default, like 2 default notice and a notice and a default, right? And the judge was going all crazy, whatever. So they sent me a letter saying that I have to send my financial statements, or else I can get up to 180 days for each case, which is 3 cases, right? But then when I got the letter, it says the straw is in proper person, right? So I'm thinking, well, you're threatening me in proper person. That sounds kind of dumb, like, you threaten me in proper person. So I'm like, okay. I was gonna go, but I'm thinking I have to see what they're gonna do. Like, this is what's resonating with me. You know what I mean? I want to see if they're gonna do anything if I don't go to court. Like, are they gonna give a warrant? Are they gonna, what are they gonna do? Because I'm just curious to know, right? And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm just not gonna go. I'm just gonna see what's gonna happen, right? So we'll know what happens, right? But I'd rather go to laundry stuff because it's more exciting. Nothing will happen.
So what is the proper person? What name are they identifying in the proper person?
They're identifying the straw, but in straw,
not all capital.
It's all capital when they deal with you. Like everything they deal with is all capital. But they wrote me in, just like they teach you in school.
Yeah. in that name?
Yeah, upper case, and then everything else is lowercase. The first letter, and then everything else is lowercase. So they're recognizing me in the proper person.
In the lowercase.
In
So-
lowercase.
so
Even
when
though
the-
it's in the straw,
So wouldn't the proper person would be a Moorish name?
Yeah, that would be,
Appellation?
yeah.
like,
Well, that's be. I mean, that would be the proper person, yes. But they also address me in the more as well. But my proper person.
No, let me
yeah,
break it
proper
down.
meaning grammatically correct.
Let me break it down
proper
for you.
as in
The birth certificate, it never have all capitals. That's what it is. The birth certificate, it doesn't have all capitals.
No, they do have all capitals.
So some of them, the paper one, yeah, the paper one,
yeah, when you write
yeah.
it, yeah.
The card one
card
is
one.
gonna be.
No, the card is what they
in all
print.
caps,
I'm
yeah.
talking the
Okay.
real.
Yeah.
It
But
doesn't
even
come
in
like that.
school, I remember when I was in school, I was young, I don't know about now, but if you wrote your name other than capital first and then lowercase, you're getting it wrong.
If
You
if
get
you
a
go
beating
put all
too.
capital, you're gonna
You're gonna get 2 ruler licks on your knuckles or something
So,
like
and I know when I came to Canada, so-called Canada, they teach you the same thing too,
that. Yeah.
right? So, but my point is, when they do address you like that, they're recognizing that you're not a property. They're more recognizing you as the flesh and blood person, right? So I'm just experimenting right now to see that they recognize me as the blood fresh person. I want to see if I'm just experimenting myself to see how this is going to unfold. If their threat is just what it is, or if they're
And then that might be specific to him too, because he's
Just
been
me.
dealing with them.
exactly.
So
I wouldn't
it
say
could be-
anybody don't do this. I'm just
yeah,
saying that.
it could be a thing that they're doing, right? Just because they're dealing with him, because they know if they write it any other way, they're gonna have to deal with the fact that they did that. You know what I mean? He's gonna address certain things.
Yeah.
But once they do it, that it comes back to the same thing that we're talking about, placate.
Oh, you know
Right?
what?
They do it from the perspective that they pacify you into thinking that, oh, they're doing this right and all that stuff. They're not doing nothing right.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
They're just playing like they don't know what's going on or whatever. They're just playing stupid, but
Because you
They
know
know
one
exactly
thing,
what they're
for one thing I could say, I remember when I had gotten the insurance in the straw on one of my rides.
Yeah.
The insurance we never go into who I am on my we just reserve my rights, and the fact that I reserve my rights on it, when they send me that pink slip, it come with upper and lower.
Yeah.
And all my friends have all caps.
all caps, yeah.
But mine's come with upper and lower.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And we never discussed no more thing. It's just that I reserve
Right,
my rights.
just the fact of that.
The fact that I reserve my rights, they know this is something else. Yeah.
And again, because they already know, like they've dealt with that so much that as soon as they see it, they already know. Okay, this is what's gonna, we're dealing with one of those ones again or whatever. So, are we gonna do things so that they can call us out or whatever, or are we just gonna quietly just deal with it? Let them do their thing, send him his paper with the stuff correct. And we already know he's gonna look at it, he's gonna go check and see if this thing's written properly or whatever, and they'll, but it's all part, as especially if we're in the status. As soon as you get that vibe of like with Lanry, if you plead, well, say Moorish American. You know what I mean? As soon as they start going there, you already know that they're playing around.
So that's why with me too, that the stuff they're doing back and stuff, I know they're playing around. So I want to play along with their game to see how they're gonna play. So it's like a chess match to me. I'm not saying for anybody to do this because I have a history of with them like that, you know what I mean? So it's like a chess match. So it's like I'm gonna see why they're gonna do that. If I don't go to court, I want to see if they're gonna be
how far they willing to go.
Right. But in my heart, right, I know that they ain't gonna do shit. That's I could be wrong, but in my heart, in my resignation, like that's what it feels like to me. That's just my personal feeling, my personal feeling in my heart. So that's what my heart's telling me. So that's what I'm gonna do. But I'm not saying for anybody to do that because, hey, remember they're de facto, right, and they like violating. So, you know what I mean?
So
And like Ujo said, no, my children, they're all 18 and you know what I mean? And I don't have no wife, so, I mean, it's all about me, so. I mean, maybe if I had small children, I'd probably be thinking differently, but you know what I mean? But, like I said, that's just resonating with me and that's what I'm going to do, so we're going to see what's going to happen, so next week, stay tuned.
I don't need it.
Anything else, straight?
Yeah, two things. I was saying, one of the brothers I have to say. One, if you resonate with that, right, and you've already proclaimed and declared, you got to understand your ancestors there who love you will be on your side. So the fear factor doesn't have to be there. Physically, yes, you're going to be afraid, but spiritually, you've already connected.
Yeah.
So everything's going to work out for it, right? Second, just in the testimony, we were talking about time. And you're saying there's no time.
Yeah.
I was here last week and I said, okay, I have to start coming because my shift changed, right?
Yeah.
So I went to sleep last night and I obviously had a vision before I came here. I had a vision that I was in a court, so-called court. Went in, did what I had to do. When I finished walking through the parking lot, old brethren of mine from years I've been seeing, he's like, oh, you did a great job. I'm like, you heard that? Like from the court, you heard me talk? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I spoke too loud, sorry. And he's like, don't worry about it. So he gave me a little daps. I went through, I guess I was going to the ride I was with, went to another parking lot, and there was a bunch of Moors sitting around. They gave me a silent clap, you know, and I'm just like, thank you.
Yeah.
Went to another parking lot, same thing. Gave me a little dap, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, the courtroom was like way up, so-called courtroom was like way up. I'm going through about a minute worth of parking lots, and everybody's clapping, silently clapping. I'm just like, yeah, thank you. And I'm a humble guy. And when I got to where I was going, the conveyance that I was going to got in, woke up, and I was like, where am I? I was just going into my automobile to get out of here because I was just in court, and I was, whoa, yeah, what time is it? It's like, it's 12 o'clock. Oh man, I gotta get up, I gotta go to temple.
Yeah.
Oh, but you know, it's late now. Don't worry about that, don't worry about that. Mind your business, I gotta do mine.
I gotta do my
So it's
stuff.
like, I already said I'm coming, right?
Yeah.
It's like you said, there's no
So
time.
you
It was
showed
like
you the
split
morals and
second.
everything in there.
Yeah, it was like split second. I was here, next thing you know, I was up.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, time to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you say there's no time, there is no time.
It's real.
Right? Because physically I was on the ground laying,
Yeah.
but spiritually I was everywhere
Or
else. Right?
somewhere else, yeah.
And I thought that was the real world.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So when I woke up, I was like, I was just like, I gotta go. See? So, you know, just two things, just put that out there.
And again, too, you were here in the first part. Most of the things we discussed, it has to do with court.
You see what I'm trying to tell you?
It has to do with court. This is
And I
not a
wasn't even
joke.
here.
6 tickets, my son get 9 tickets. 9 has to do with court.
Right, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so
That's straight.
when you weren't here, here you go.
That's what I see. So when you follow that, like as I was bringing it to him, everything is connected. So if you say that, you know, this is what I gotta deal with, you're already in your proper person already, right? So you're not that trying to fight. Even though when I wasn't in my proper person, I still had the same feeling, the same thing was coming. But you're already a step ahead.
Yeah.
Right? They ain't know they're de facto. Right? You know who you are. Right? So you do your thing physically, but also do your thing spiritually also.
Yeah, as well.
Because you can't remember, we were talking last week, remember we were talking about the divine and the natural movement. You can't forget that part, because it's real. Right? It's real.
Super real.
Right?
Super
So
real,
you know that they can, like what Kuja was saying, they can play all the games that they want. Once you know who you are and you go straight for it, they can't stop you. They can play, but they can't stop you.
Right.
And that's real. But if you don't believe it, then you leave a crack open. Remember
That's
who
how
you deal
they-
with here. Remember
that's
who
how
they
they
are.
kick in
Right?
the door.
They deal with spells and they're trying their little foolishness. But you're the power, not them. So you gotta seal up everything. Right? Because they're coming into those little cracks. That's how they get on our people, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just how big's the crack?
Straight up.
With Moors, it's like a
Yes.
hairline crack.
That's why
They do
you
with
gotta
Negroes,
study.
you got a door open that these
Well,
guys
yeah,
can
well,
come in
yeah,
or
of
whatever.
course. That's why you have to study. You have to.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I'm thinking maybe, like you said, the window.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe that's the window. So I have to see if that's the
Yeah.
if the window is
manifest
real or
into
not.
what it is. Yeah. Straight.
So it's not like I'm fearful because when when I show people the letter, they're like, oh my gosh, 180 days. And like they're more they're scared. I'm like,
they're more scared than you.
You're like, you're laughing. Why are you laughing? Because I was like, you guys just wouldn't. You guys just don't over. You guys just wouldn't overstand, like, you know.
Yeah, and then also too with that too, just like you brought that up. Keep in mind who you bring your stuff up to. When we bringing your stuff up to unconscious, fear instilled Negroes, because they would transfer that fear to you so fast that, you know what I mean, you mess your own stuff up.
That's why you gotta be strong, right?
Because family member, but
at work we're dealing with this thing. I saw this brother from Africa, so-called Nigeria. He had a kota, right? Kota is like a dress, natural dress, right? And I'm like, I like your kota. And he's like, he looked at me like, you know what that is?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. It's like, we were that. And he's like, where are you from? Jamaica? Where you from? Caribbean? I said, I'm from here. And then his wife came over. She's from Tobago. They're like, where? And next thing you know, the Indians, Punjabis, they were listening on the side.
Yeah.
But their all ears are cocked out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we heard that. Can you get that one from me? He's like, where here? That's all you stuck. You just stuck on here. And I'm like, so I show him, put the nationality card, I throw him up there, and his eyes just went, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, you know what that is, right? He's like, he's just staring at me like, what?
Like, what? You know?
Like, didn't your chiefs wear these? And he's like, his wife, who's Tobago, said, yeah.
Yeah.
She's not from
Nigeria. She's not from Nigeria.
Yeah. And then from that day, she treats me different.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a talker. I just do my work and I'm not a talker.
Yeah,
But now she's always trying to say hi to me. I'm like, just stay how we were.
Yeah.
Just stay how we were. You know what I mean? Like, nothing changes. Stay how we were. So it's just like he's stuck. Like, how come this so-called black guy?
Yeah.
How does he have that?
Stuff
Like,
that,
how is that possible?
They were brainwashed too.
Exactly.
They were told not to tell us.
They were told.
They were told not to tell us.
Anybody who looks like that, they don't know nothing about themselves or whatever.
That's right. That's right.
And they start bumping into Mars and we start realizing, hold on a second, some of these people actually know what's up. All
But
right.
the funny thing though, she was more relaxed about it than he was.
Yeah.
Right? She's from Tobago. He's from Nigeria. And his eyes were like he's just shocked. And she's just playing it. And I'm like, yeah.
And then too, remember too, because, you know, the idea is that, you know, we were the ones enslaved or whatever. So we're supposed to be the dumbed down ones.
Right.
They're supposed to be the ones that Africa's the finest civilization. So and you start dealing with us or whatever, we start talking about stuff in their stuff that they don't know. What are they gonna say? Other than, oh brother and all that stuff, hugging, welcome home and all that. You know, and immediately they get out of that, we're black and stuff mindset, they start dealing with us like family.
But
They
I'm
don't
saying
deal with
like,
us like strangers.
even the so-called Punjabi and the Indians that were listening, their attitude changed.
Yeah.
You can see them suing. Is that one there?
No,
he's not.
He's not there.
So everything it's oh brother, you want brother? All of a sudden, what's going on here? Just stay how you were. Stay how you were before. How they treat the other ones, they're calling them Jamaica, don't know kind of things, but they don't do that with me. Don't play that with me. It's just straight. Brother, brother, you need something? No, I'm good.
You see how that connected to what I was saying this morning about the bus driver?
Yeah.
Same thing.
See?
A bus driver see me and he couldn't pass me.
So it is.
Like I was standing like I don't want the bus, but he couldn't pass me.
Right.
I must have to stop to come ask me, you going, you know, because he recognized me, understanding.
Straight.
Yeah.
Straight. The vibration follows you. Follows you. But if you don't believe it does, then it doesn't.
And if you can recognize
the
it,
universe does what you say.
Yeah.
So if you don't believe that it doesn't follow you, it doesn't follow you.
You get what you want and what you don't want.
Straight.
So
And
don't
you gotta
ask what
believe
you
that.
don't want.
You gotta believe that. You don't, whether you believe it or not, it's happening in your life.
Yeah, it's going on.
So
especially now there's a full moon.
Yep.
Right, so
all the energies are
out there.
Yeah.
Right, so it's like, I mean, like even last night I was supposed to put my little crystals in the water. I forgot about it. What I'm gonna do tonight? Recharge them. You know what I mean?
you gotta start doing us and stop worrying about everything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The power's inside you. Just do it.
Just do it. You know, all is mental.
I just say the power now. I was gonna go on one of those Viva bus.
Yeah.
Viva bus, and when the bus comes up and it stops, I look in the bus, and wherever I see in the bus, I said, you learning to drive, and you is the teacher. That's what I said. So when the bus stopped now and the guy came off, the teacher came off, I said, how you doing, teacher? He said, what do you mean? I said, you teaching him to drive. He said, how you know that? Then I asked him, where you from? He said, from Haiti. I said, what happened to your third eye? It doesn't work? Well, I use mine, that's why I know who you are. That you are the driver. You are the one that's teaching him. And he's lost. He's lost. I said, see how much you lost from what your Haitian people, your 80 people know?
The kings of voodoo and all.
Yeah, and you lost from it?
Doesn't even know right.
He lost from it.
Lost.
He
Third
lost.
eye closed.
He lost. His third eye closed.
Calcified.
He was shocked to hear me telling him, you're the one teaching that one to drive. How you know? Oh.
That's the thing, we have it, but we don't use it.
Exactly.
We don't use it. Everybody.
Have it. No,
they all have it.
Use it.
Good?
Yeah.
All right.
I can talk something about him, right?
Yeah, you can talk whatever, or whatever comes to mind.
I was stressed out when he won, and they gave him a lot of stuff, and they didn't tell me what it is they gave him. Anyway, he ended up with really, really bad eczema. Well, what they say is eczema. And I tell him that is not eczema, that is a chemical bone, right? They're telling me, oh, it may be heredity or something. I say, no, nobody in my family have that, nobody in his dad family have that. So this is from chemicals that was given to him, and I didn't give it to him. Anyway, they go on, they give me all kind of stuff. I tell them I'm not using anything that they give me. They ask what I'm going to use. I say, what I'm going to use is going to come to me. Like everything else. So, they tell me your skin will never get back good.
Fear,
1 year, I took him back. The doctor came, she said, oh my gosh, look at his skin. Those things, I said, cortisone is a chemical. It's not to put on our skin. People with this color skin, we can't use chemicals to fix our body. We have to use nature to fix our body.
Stuff,
Right? So when they saw him, they were shocked. One day the doctor tell me, oh, could you tell me what to use? I said, it's for me to know, I need to find out. I said, you was the one that was telling me everything. I said, all this knowledge that you guys have, that you think you have, you get it from the same creative force. So when you're telling me I am less than you, when the same information could come to me, they call, spirit does guide you. I call CAS and I tell him what I was doing. I had documentation to show. So when I took him in, and I tell them I'm not using anything, they call me. And it so happened that the same person that they connected with
was who you dealt with.
Was who I dealt with. I make sure she come. I say, I don't want you to listen to my words alone. I want you to come and see with your eyes. So she came, she saw him, she see how he was, I showed she documentation of what I was doing, how he was clearing and so on. When they called her, she talked to them. Soon after they put on the phone from her, she called me. She said, these people call me and XYZ, but I tell them I know about you and your case. So, sometimes we just need to listen to that, listen to ourselves. So I just do that a lot with everything. When I go anywhere, I don't know what it is, but people just look at me a kind of way. And some want to deal with me, and some don't want to deal with me, and I'm okay with it.
Straight up.
Because I'm saying, and I respect people who come honestly and talk to me. I have only 2 doctors I find that did that. And I say, you know what, I respect you guys any day because you guys tell me the truth. They tell me they didn't know what was wrong. But inside, I don't know what was, I know what was wrong. I'm still working with him. He's much, much better now.
That's good.
So now when I go to them, I tell them what I want because from where I come from, when you go to the doctor's office, doctor don't tell me what's wrong with me. He's not living in my body. So I deal with them the same way. Hey, and you look at me like, where this woman where this woman come from telling me what, how to do my job? Because that's how it is.
That's the mentality,
But I don't care. Like, you could think whatever you want to think. This is my body. So that's how I deal with everything.
We all have it. We all have it. We're all connected, but that's the state, look at the state we're in, right? We all have it.
Everybody's got it.
So now imagine if we connected as
a unit.
Imagine.
Connected as a unit. Have those.
As you said that, imagine a fraud connecting now. Back to yeah man, back to the you remember the one in the shop there that you couldn't get it and the European girl make him get it?
Yeah.
This is what she telling him now. You see, if all you people could unite like this man, what he's telling you, you would know how powerful you are. That's what the European girl tell the guy that I couldn't convince. He told him. I just remember the fact that you say what you say now. It just come back to me. He tell him that. And that's what make him turn around and start to tell me he said I want to see you again. When I come, I want to see you. I want to see you again. That's his talk when he was leaving. That's what the girl said. The girl said, if all you so-called black people, African people could just come together, just like you hear what the guy is telling you, you're the most powerfulest thing on the planet. That's what the girl tell him. European girl.
Yeah, our people play.
Our people is, they think that because you claim, like, alright, a lot of people there always say, well, wars are for everybody. Oh, they're saying, when I talk to people, they're like, well, I'm not more, or it's not for me. Like, yeah, I understand the concept, but it's not for me. But I'm like, what you're doing now is not working for you? Like, realistically, is it working for you? Like, is it for real? Are you, because all I ever hear you do is complain, and you're stressed out and pure issues. Like, you know, well, if it's not for you, I don't want to hear none of your issues then, you know what I mean? And that's straight up, like I tell people, I tell you, a way, like for instance, somebody know, they're garnishing your wage. Complain all the time. I'm like, I told you a process, try it. Scared to try it. Yeah, oh, I work with the government, I want to lose that job, but they're the same one screwing you over.
The same people.
Right?
The same people.
Yeah, just drop the seed and keep stepping.
Yeah.
So I said, if I get pimped,
said their energy will rub up on you.
Yeah, I said, don't complain to me, I don't want to hear anything about that.
Drop the seed and move on.
I don't want to hear it.
They don't want to hear, they don't want to hear. Those on here must feel. Sorry, brother.
I go like this.
Your teacher?
Yeah. She goes like this. Yeah. I go like this.
Yeah.
Her faces puff up, and she bows to me. I leave.
You're kidding me.
The power of your national birthright.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Right?
I'll just give a testimony. From my reading, since it's been a year now, so like this happened like in Costco, maybe a couple days ago. I was just walking shopping, doing my little shopping for him. Maybe four Afghanistan guys, like they're walking a family, right? So they're coming up to me, they're like, brother, buy me something. And I'm like, what do you want? What do you want? They start taking anything off. Like, I was going like based on the conversation, like, brother, come up to me, brother, buy me something. I'm like, what do you want? Anything, take it. I'm not, just related. Like, he came over and like hugged me, and I'm like, I wasn't even having on the face or nothing, just my regular
vibes,
my hoodie and just vibes. I'm thinking, I was wondering why this guy come over to me, like, but I'm thinking if I wasn't reading, I would have probably reacted a different way to black guy. I'd probably like, get away from me, what are you guys doing? You know what I mean? But the way I'm like, I'm just like, take anything, I'll pay for it. Just come off my tongue, take it, I'll pay for it. He just gave me a hug. And then another one yesterday, it was Hindustani people, it was their prophet's birthday. So they had food, they bring their little samosas around, sharing the stuff. So I remember something from the Quran, and I'm like telling him, this thing what you guys are doing is from principle. And our prophet Drew Ali talk about it. So you realize, you recognize it like, yeah. So I'm like, all prophets are basically speaking on the same principle. Yeah. So it's all one. So we're all connected. So as soon as I mentioned Drew Ali, the guy realized it. You know what I mean? So I'm telling him, it's not about the food, and I mentioned the part where they talk about the sacrifice, and it's better to just put it on the table of the poor. Right. So I'm like, this is what you guys are doing right now. You're putting it on the table because your temple recognizes from the principle that this is what needs to be done, right? And you guys are doing that well. Right. So you realize that I knew, and I'm referring Drew Ali and the principles, and he's onto it. And and like, yeah, that's what it is. And you know, I kind of took some from them and shared the love with them. You know.
Alright, Morris, is on to that. Next will be live Tuesday on Ustream, ustream.tv.
Still banned from YouTube?
Yeah, we're banned till January 1st or something like that.
Why are you banned?
We had a video up with a European. Somebody uploaded a video of a European at a hospital, and she was going around the hospital trying to find out where the Europeans' doctors are, because everybody in here is brown and they have brown teeth, and why should she have them take care of her child and all that stuff? I need a European doctor and all this stuff. So YouTube, somebody complained on the video that it's harassment and bullying, and then YouTube canceled our stream till January. But the upload of the video is still up. The video is still up there.
Of course. Well, it has nothing to do with that.
Right? So,
you know that already.
Right?
That's crazy.
No, a lot of people that's bringing out this information, that is really shocking them now.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
for sure,
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's why we don't need, we shouldn't rely on so-called online.
There, whatever, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We have our own.
Right. Even Facebook got a 30-day jail right now.
Yeah.
Because I said
Yeah, right.
niggas. Said niggas.
Yeah, but you know that's not it. That's not great.
Yeah, it's,
You know,
like,
You know already.
gotta be something. Cause we getting porn stuff, people want to add porn stuff and all that stuff. All types of stuff is on there. And then people are still up there. So definitely something going on, you know what I mean? They're gonna do what they do.
Yes, definitely.
Alright? Islam to all the Moors online. If you got questions, canaanlandguide@gmail.com. And every Tuesday, 7 p.m., we're on Ustream for our Tuesday class, 7 to 9. So if that's it, we'll just close up and go from there. Peace and love, Morris. Face the east, 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe. Father of love. Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector. My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. To his holy prophet. Islam. Ashe.
Ladies and gentlemen, check this out.
If you can't tell who it is that we be, it's the ALMOROC, stepping up in the place ambassadorially. 2 on the right, in the middle is me. Got 5 on the left, to the ground is 3. Those who have the eyes can clearly see that. What? It's the Moors for sure, and you can't touch the shores unless you down. Do a treaty with us, and we entreat that you trust and respect our boundaries and our legacies. Can't get the best of me with the strongest mental telepathy. Phone book, fiat, fantasy, or recipes. Wisdom and supreme mathematics is protecting me. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. S on my chest, about to take flight. Signal of distress, something don't seem right. I'm trying to find a phone booth, but none in sight. Trying to get the whole truth, but it's a fight. Drew Ali told you, but still despite, renew the old you. You'll be alright, you'll be alright, you'll be alright.
I get knowledge, knowledge I got. My mind spray a lot for my alma rock. Lyrics cryptic, I'm Moroccan mystic. Use rhymes at times, enlighten a dimwit. When I'm Moroccans flow, you drown trying to swim with. Hang rappers by laces, they tie their Timbs with. This ain't that fruity rap, we catch him in booby traps, coughing up a lung cause my fam got hung.
5 on the left, 2 on the right, S on my chest, about to take flight. Signal of distress, something don't seem right. I'm trying to find a phone booth, but none in sight. Trying to get the whole truth, but it's a fight. Drew Ali told you, but still despite, renew the old you. You'll be alright, you'll be alright, you'll be alright.
We are the ancient, returned on mics and beats, on ancestral realms and streets. Words sound power, shower, watering minds with jade lines and amethyst rhymes. Tiger eyes glow, scimitar showing, crystal reflections for added protections. 5 on the left, 2 on the right, lyrical bread and fish fed through the mic.
I tip your scales with vibrational levels. With this man, sever your tempo. Moving, living backwards, spamming in pebbles. People trying to survive, call us criminals. Why did my first die, surrounded by devils? Wanna try and infiltrate inside my mentals, but ministry of propaganda and the scandals. Be the fucking rascal, camouflage charcoal, heavy rotisserie, heavy arsenal.
5 on the left, 2 on the right, S on my chest, about to take flight. Signal of distress, something don't seem right. I'm trying to find a phone booth, but none in sight. Trying to get the whole truth, but it's a fight. Drew Ali told you, but still despite, renew the old you. You'll be alright, you'll be alright, you'll be alright.
Check it. Knew from the first day that I met her. Thirsty in the worst way, wanted to get her. Open like a ladder, I'm open, not to stress her. No pressure, but I wanna lay her out like a stretcher. Knew she couldn't handle 16, so I hit her with 8 first to give her a taste first. Cat and mouse game, yeah, she gave up the chase first. So I booked the room and I laid her down face first. She liked the kinky, so I spit on her. Wanted to keep it to myself, she wanted other dudes to get on her. I tried my best to put a hit on her, but she fell in love with crap rap. All they do is shit on her. Thought I knew her well, so but wait a second. Knew her well before she ever even made a record. She's a thought now, so I gotta pay to check it. But I'm still digging mommy like a crate of records.
5 on the left, 2 on the right, S on my chest, about to take flight. Signal of distress, something don't seem right. I'm trying to find a phone booth, but none in sight. Trying to get the whole truth, but it's a fight. Drew Ali told you, but still despite, renew the old you. You'll be alright, you'll be alright, you'll be alright.